Rumor has it that John University's top beauty has severe misandry. Any spot a man has touched she will scrub raw with coarse salt. Not only will a millionaire's car that a man brushed against spontaneously burst into flames, even his father must always keep a 3.8-meter distance. The boys lucky enough to sit with him in class get yelled at to leave in less than 2.5 seconds. On your first day after transferring, the homeroom teacher assigned you to sit with him. At that moment the girl in the front row stood up. Teacher, that's Yanji's seat. Homeroom teacher Ai Chu frowned. Lu Ruyan hasn't arrived yet. When she comes, let her sit next to you. You glanced at the seat, walked over, put down your bag and took out a book to read. But then the back door of the classroom was suddenly kicked open and two girls walked in. The one in front, Lu Ruyan, was tall with a frosty face and an aloof, iceberg expression. The girl in the front row quickly stood up and pointed at you. Yanji, that's your seat. Lu Ruyan glanced at you sitting by the seat. The lines of her profile were smooth, and the stray hairs by her ear looked pleasing. Finally she narrowed her eyes, walked over, put down her bag and sat beside you. Get out. That one sentence from Lu Ruyan focused the whole class's attention on you. As expected of Lu Ruyan, no one dared sit with her, and she scorned sitting with others. You met those ink-black fox-like eyes, frowned, and displeasedly said, "Are you talking to me?" Lu Ruyan, a bit impatient and too lazy for nonsense, was about to hurl an insult. But Ai Chu abruptly cut her off. Sit for now. There will be a class reassignment exam later. After it's done we'll rearrange seats. Ai Chu knew Lu Ruyan's temper. This sovereign could only be indulged with all this chaos. She could still score full marks in science and math. Upon hearing this, Lu Ruyan finally got a clear look at your features, then quickly shifted her gaze away and remained silent. Under the class's scrutinizing stares, Lu Ruyan did not drive you away and actually sat next to you. Everyone's jaws dropped in shock, though none dared show it. Just after she sat, you turned your head and caught a pleasant scent of perfume at the tip of your nose. For the entire math period, Lu Ruyan slept like the dead, and more absurdly, the teacher paid her no mind. You cast a suspicious glance at her. No one at John University dared sleep so openly, much less in the elite experimental class. Mew, can I borrow your math notes to take a look? The teacher talks too fast. I didn't catch everything. Dukian in the front row looked at you bashfully. You smiled, thinking inwardly, just call me brother Mew, I won't bite. Then you glanced at Dukian's paper. I'll explain it to you. I didn't take notes. You never take notes in math class? Dukian asked, astonished. After all, in the science experimental class everyone kept a notebook of mistakes. The teacher's problems were hard and fast, and without notes it was impossible to keep up after class. You lowered your head to scan the exam. It was much easier than the competition problems you practiced in the city. You weren't used to taking notes. Only when you encountered a new problem type would you organize notes. Today's were a piece of cake. Dukian immediately understood this new transfer student was clearly a top scholar. He quickly pointed at the hard problem. You glanced at it, picked up a pen, and wrote on scrap paper as you explained. Your voice was low but your problem solving was precise, your reasoning incredibly clear. You're amazing. I totally get it now, thank you. Dukian looked at you with admiring eyes. Just then, Lu Ruyan beside him shifted her shoulder and lifted her head, her gaze sweeping over the two of you. Dukian went pale. Sorry for waking you up. He turned around at once but kept his ears pricked, afraid Lu Ruyan would snap. After all, last time someone made too much noise after class and disturbed her sleep, she yelled at a boy until he cried, and he was too frightened to come to school for a week. You calmly put down your pen and planned to get up to check the schedule and grab a cup of water. Then Lu Ruyan's lazy, half-asleep voice sounded, either be quiet or get out. You raised your eyes and gave her a disdainful glance. You'd never seen anyone so arrogant and overbearing in all your life. But you couldn't be bothered to argue, so you replied slowly, sorry, we'll be careful next time. That unexpected apology froze Lu Ruyan. She watched you walk away, settled into a more comfortable position, and went back to sleep. You had just finished collecting water when you turned and ran into your cousin Wu Mengmeng. What a coincidence. You sized her up from head to toe. You came to get water too? Wu Mengmeng nodded repeatedly. You glanced at her empty hands, going to catch it with your mouth? Embarrassed at being called out, Wu Mengmeng scratched her head and, under the gaze of the others, tugged you into a corner. How are you feeling today? You lowered your voice and asked. How would I feel? Other than having a strange deskmate, everything's fine. My deskmate looks a bit fierce, never pays attention in class. No idea how they ended up in class 1. A face flashed through Wu Mengmeng's mind. Is your deskmate pretty tall, very attractive, sleeps in class every day, and everyone in the school is afraid of them? You looked down and thought for a moment, then nodded. Sleeping's true. As for whether people are afraid, how would I know? Class is starting, I have to go. With that you turned and left. Wu Mengmeng walked back to class 2 and, passing class 1, deliberately glanced inside. In an instant he confirmed you really were sitting next to Lu Ruyan. He almost swore he had to warn Mu later to stay far away from that walking disaster Lu Ruyan. You hurried back to your seat to the sound of the bell, set your water bottle on the desk, and saw Lu Ruyan still asleep. You didn't bother him and opened your book for the second period. English teacher Lu Fenfang, in her early 40s, was famously strict and naturally didn't tolerate students like Lu Ruyan. She asked a question and directly called on Lu Ruyan, who lay slumped over his desk sound asleep. You were bent over taking notes and only when you looked up did you notice the classroom had gone deathly quiet. Everyone's eyes were on your side. Lu Fenfang turned her gaze to you. You're the new transfer student, right? Wake your deskmate up to answer the question. The whole class watched you breathlessly. Lu Ruyan's wake-up temper was known school-wide. Whoever dared wake him up would be unlucky. Faces showed worry, anticipation, and a hunger for drama. Those in the front row who had no conscience felt uneasy and nudged his deskmate Xiao Kai. Old Xiao, do you think the new kid will dare wake Sister Yan? If she gets woken up she'll definitely fly into a rage. This guy is doomed. Who doesn't know Sister Yan's temper? Xiao Kai said nothing, but the hand twirling his pencil came to a halt. You reached out and, neither hard nor soft, tapped Lu Ruyan's arm. There was no emotion detectable in your voice. The teacher's calling you. Lu Ruyan was obviously awakened by your tap. She slowly looked up, stray hairs on her forehead, messy, bloodshot eyes, glaring at you with slight annoyance. Did you call me just now? You pointed to the podium. The teacher asked you to answer a question. Lu Ruyan rubbed the sleep from her eyes and raised her head, realizing the whole class was focused on her. Her sharp gaze swept over the students in the front rows, and she immediately lowered her head. Only then did she stand up. Lu Fenfang, seeing this, immediately started nagging. Lu Ruyan, you can get full marks in science, those teachers can't handle you, and there's nothing I can do. But look at your English, you get 70 every time. That score drags down your total by a lot. If you could raise your English, there'd be no problem. Full marks in science, those 4 words flashed into your ears, and you couldn't help glancing at Lu Ruyan twice. But Lu Ruyan didn't take the teacher's words in at all. She lifted an impatient brow. If there's a question, ask it. Lu Fenfang had been put in her place by her before and raised her hand, pointing to an English word on the blackboard. Explain the usage of this word. Lu Ruyan glanced at it and said casually, use whether if there's none, use that if there is. Then she sat down on her own. Lu Fenfang both loved and hated Lu Ruyan. Even if her humanities were terrible, full marks in science was enough to put her far ahead of others and recover her rank. If her humanities scores improved too, it would be unbelievable. After being called on, Lu Ruyan showed no more sleepiness. She pulled out her phone and started playing a game. You glanced over. Someone like her was a first for you, yet she could still stay in the honors class. At that moment Lu Ruyan looked up and met your clear gaze. Wanna play? You quickly shook your head and then quickly averted your eyes. Sunlight filled the playground as the principal droned on from the podium about the start of school and the late September sports meet. The 3 girls in grade 2 class 1 student committee were particularly eye-catching, one playing with a Rubik's Cube with her head down, one nonchalant, and one chatting animatedly. No conscience. Zhu Yazi from class 6 sneaked into class 1's group. She bumped Zhu Yazi. Why aren't you in class 6? What are you doing here? Zhu Yazi suddenly noticed an unfamiliar figure. Who is that boy? I've never seen him before. I didn't expect your class 1, apart from showing off, to have a handsome guy too. Which class did he transfer from? Zhu Yazi pointed at you as she spoke. No conscience glanced back and said indifferently, he's a new transfer to our class, he's Yanja's deskmate now. No way, really? Yanja doesn't let just anyone be her deskmate, does she? Zhu Yazi's jaw nearly dropped. Who knows, maybe she liked him, No conscience said in a low voice. Zhu Yazi still looked incredulous. Impossible. You're Zhuangbai in class 2's Jisai. Those are guys with looks, bodies, and good grades. Yanja didn't even take to them. She'd pick this one. Zhuangbai and Jisai were the grades 2 acknowledged heartthrobs, one in the science class, one in the humanities class. They had fought openly and secretly over Lu Ruyan. No conscience patted Zhu Yazi. Don't worry about it. He's probably just a temporary deskmate. I was pretty nervous for that guy this morning. Thinking of the seating this morning and waking him up just now made her shiver. Zhu Yazi, go back to your own class. If you can't get into class 1, don't loiter here. Are you planning to write a reflection? The dean came down to inspect and happened to catch this old rascal Zhu Yazi. Zhu Yazi immediately begged with a grin, Director, I'm just here to bask in the fairy aura of class 1. I'll leave right away. Then he ran back to his class grinning. Lu Ruyan narrowed her eyes and watched your back thoughtfully. When the principal finally finished speaking, Du Qian grabbed you and walked off together. The two of you chatted as you walked and returned to the classroom, but you found a boy sitting in your seat. You and Du Qian walked closer. She recognized him as the handsome guy from the class next door, Jisai. When Jisai saw you, his face instantly turned hostile. What, never seen me come to find Lu Ruyan? You immediately felt a strong sense of antagonism. At that moment he was appraising you from head to toe with a critical gaze. He stood up and sneered at you coldly. Don't think that sitting next to Lu Ruyan makes you her boyfriend. She will be mine sooner or later. You're not worthy. A flash of impatience crossed your eyes. Crazy, I'm not interested in him at all. The girls watching nearby were dumbfounded. They didn't expect the seemingly well-behaved you to swear. Looking at Jisai's pale face, it was hilarious. He had always acted superior, no one dared show him attitude except Lu Ruyan, and now he'd run into a wall. With Lu Ruyan present, he couldn't lose his temper, so he could only grit his teeth and spit out a harsh threat. Just you wait. You pretended not to hear, picked up your pen, and continued working on your exercise book. Strong, so strong. Zhu Yazi, who had previously not believed the claim that you had no conscience, finally saw it with his own eyes. Even the no conscience one was stunned. Sister Yan's new deskmate really hides her talents. Lu Ruyan kept his head down playing a game, but he had heard everything clearly, and a dark glint flashed in his eyes. At noon dismissal, Wu Mengmeng appeared at the door of class 2-1, little GE. You frowned and muttered inwardly, how many times have I told you not to call me by my childhood name? The 3 girls in the classroom all looked over at once. You walked to the door and suddenly pulled Wu Mengmeng aside. Are you itching to act up? How many times have I told you? Wu Mengmeng hurriedly hooked his arm through yours. I'm just used to calling you that. I can't change it in a moment. Next time, I promise I won't call you that. I'll call you Mu GE directly. Hearing that, you blared at him. Want to try lying in bed for a month? Wu Mengmeng fell silent instantly. Though you seem polite on the surface, you're actually a black belt in taekwondo and judo. Last time an arrogant school bully picked on you and ended up in the hospital for over a month. After a stunned moment, Wu Mengmeng took a lunchbox out of his bag and handed it to you. My dad was afraid you wouldn't be used to the school canteen, so he specially had our housekeeper make this for you. You reached for the box but politely said, you don't have to go to such trouble. I'll go back and tell my uncle. Just eat it. I'm meeting someone to play ball, so I won't come find you this afternoon. I'll wait for you at the school gate. Alright then, brother. Wu Mengmeng finally acted serious for once. You smiled. Good, you're sensible. I'm off now, do as you please. After returning to the classroom, you find an unfamiliar girl. The four of them are gathered together eating takeout. You carry in your lunchbox. When you open the insulated container, the aroma of the food instantly drifts out. Sure enough, the 3 dishes are all your favorites, and there's a box of cut fruit underneath, which brightens your mood considerably. Mew, where did this lunch come from? No Conscience is drooling from the smell. You take a bite of a dish. My family brought it. No Conscience clearly saw it was given by Wu Mengmeng, so he asks curiously, isn't this from Wu Mengmeng in class too? At that you shoot him a cold glance. I hate being disturbed while I'm eating. What's it to you? No Conscience immediately shuts up. How can this new deskmate's temper be exactly like his? He was a pure obedient boy this morning. How did he become so unpredictable in one morning? Zuyazi beside you, however, laughs uproariously. Ha ha ha, No Conscience, don't bother the handsome guy while he's eating. However, the principal and the dean happen to be inspecting here. Is everyone ignoring the school rules? No takeout in the classroom. But you and Lu Ruyan remain motionless, while the other girls hurriedly tidy up. No, it's all food sent from home. The principal groans at these old hands. The takeout receipt is still here. All of you write self-criticisms. Please don't, principal, it's just the start of the term. Writing self-criticisms is so bad. Zhu Yizi pleads with a mischievous face. The principal scans the room. I know some of you. I want to see those self-criticisms before the entrance exam. Then he randomly points at your unfamiliar figure. That boy, what's your name? You put down your chopsticks, then calmly stand up. New GE. The principal adjusts his glasses and finally sees clearly. This is the person Wu Mengmeng's parents specifically asked to be looked after, so he must have some background. Plus you're pleasant looking, did well on the placement exam, and are only 16, so a smile immediately forms on the principal's face. You're a new transfer student, right? Be careful next time. This is a school rule. You, however, ask calmly, my family worried I wouldn't get used to the food here. They won't do it again tomorrow. Do I need to write a self-criticism? The principal waves kindly. No need. You're from Modu, right? Just arrived in Zhongcheng. You're bound to be uncomfortable. You'll settle in. Go on and eat. All of you, write self-criticisms. Once the principal leaves, Zhu Yizi mutters in displeasure. The principal is so biased he smiles like that whenever he sees a handsome guy. The little cutie also looks at you. Mew, do you have some kind of power that makes the principal smile like a flower? Zhu Yizi says indignantly, yeah, his beer belly, his eyes are just slits from smiling. You give a faint smile, showing your teeth inwardly thinking maybe it's personal charm, but don't get too infatuated with me. At that No Conscience rubs his eyes suddenly. Do you have a split personality? You were so fierce with me just now, and now you've changed into this. Your face changing speed is way too fast. At that moment you return to your seat. Seeing there was a bit too much food in the lunchbox, you turned and asked my Liangzin, I haven't touched this plate of meat at all. It's a bit much. Want it? Consider it an apology for my tone earlier. My Liangzin's face instantly lit up with delight. Really giving it to me? You nodded. Yeah, you can just share it. As you spoke you reached out and closed the other lunchboxes. Lu Ruyan glanced over at that moment. You only eat that much? Have you always had such a small appetite? You shook your head, then took milk out of your bag. I need to save room to drink the milk. The cutie couldn't help but stare at you a couple more times. Not many people drink milk these days. Mew, you're really something. And anyone patient enough to get Lu Ruyan to chat like that certainly isn't ordinary. You bit the straw with a nonchalant look. What's so special about it? Milk helps you grow taller. Ha 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 ha. My Lianzin burst out laughing, sizing you up with amused interest. Mew, did the PE teacher teach your biology? At this age, can guys still grow taller? I've long given up on myself. You responded with an oh, then leisurely replied, that's because you're too old. Zhu Yizi immediately took offense. You can't say that I'm actually the youngest in the whole grade. Zhu Yizi is 18 this year, but because he was born in the latter half of the year he should have been in the first year of high school, instead he entered early. A smile crossed your refined face. Then I should be the youngest, now I'm only 16. The room went wild at that, and even Lu Ruyan glanced your way twice. My Liangzin stood up abruptly. 16? Shouldn't you be in the 3rd year of middle school? In fact you were supposed to move up to 2nd year of middle school later in the year but had skipped a grade to enroll early. You were used to things like this compared to your 2 older sisters. This was nothing. Zhu Yizi immediately leaned in with gossip on his face. No way, 16 and already this tall, and your grades can still keep up with these 18 or 19-year-olds? Everyone there suddenly looked at you with renewed respect. I heard the principal mention you were from Ningcheng? How did you end up here in Baikan? The cutie stared at you curiously. You responded offhandedly, because of some special circumstances. Feeling you'd said enough, you didn't elaborate, thinking to yourself, personal matters are best not pried into. No sooner had you finished speaking than you got up and headed to the restroom. Damn, that's awesome. Zhu Yizi was clearly shocked by your age. Lu Ruyan merely glanced coolly toward the door, then stood and left. The others snapped back to their senses, tossed aside their takeout, and went down to the small garden to smoke. You came out of the restroom at your leisure, leaned against the corridor, and just happened to see a dozen or so girls clustered together in the garden below. The most eye-catching was the painted-up Lu Ruyan. Beside her, my Liangzin seemed to be having a heated argument with a girl opposite and they had even started shoving each other. Your narrowed eyes quickly regained calm, and you decisively turned and walked back to the classroom, thinking, it's best not to get involved in local dramas. After all, you were here, put nicely, to study, put bluntly, to experience life and make yourself more independent. Once the college entrance exams were over, your family would arrange for you to go abroad or to a better top university. The bell for the 2nd period in the afternoon had barely sounded when Wu Mengmeng, unable to wait, slung her bag on her back and wildly waved at you from the back door. You understood at once and nodded slightly, ready to slip away, cheering in your heart, finally can go have fun. No Conscience stood up and stretched a big lazy yawn, while Cute and Lu Ruyan slowly packed their bags. You, however, leisurely put your pen back into the pencil case, deliberately waiting until Lu Ruyan and the others had left the door before shouldering your shoulder bag and following. Wu Mengmeng had already been waiting at the door. The two of you quickly got into the car parked there. This scene happened to be seen head-on by Lu Ruyan and the others pushing a bicycle out. This classmate Muj really is close with Wu Mengmeng, but he doesn't even live in the dorms, No Conscience said, eyes nearly popping in shock. Cute gave a light laugh from the side. He's actually the first boy in our class who doesn't live in the dorms. Lu Ruyan, however, stared at the receding car with deep eyes and expressionless, called out to them, let's go, same place tonight, overnight. As soon as Wu Mengmeng climbed into the car, she couldn't help but widen her eyes at you. Oh my god, you're actually seated with Lu Ruyan. Unhurried, you took out your phone, put in the Bluetooth earbud for your left ear, and asked back with a puzzled look, what's wrong? Is there a problem with that? Wu Mengmeng casually tossed down her bag and immediately yanked out your earbud, her expression serious. Don't listen to music for now. I have to tell you something properly today. Lu Ruyan is a dangerous person. With the earbud forcibly taken, a bit of annoyance rose in you and you frowned as you complained. What's so gossip-worthy about Lu Ruyan? You're not even really close to her. She just got stuck as your deskmate by bad luck. Anyway, once the semester exams are over the seats will surely change. She didn't do anything to you today, did she? Brow slightly furrowed, you slowly wound down the car window and snorted, what could he even do to you? Wu Mengmeng swallowed and exaggerated her expression. Lu Ruyan is the notorious school bully at BY. No one dares provoke him. He should have been in senior 3, but because he got into a big fight with students from another school before, he was held back a year. Now lots of the senior tough guys still hang out with him. Wu Mengmeng grew more excited as she spoke. And he hates having a deskmate if they ever place someone with him. It never lasts more than 3 days. I heard his family background is unfathomable, like they're tied to some underworld dealings. On the surface they're in business, but his science scores are exceptionally high and with his powerful family backing, even the teachers don't know what to do with him. Wu Mengmeng admonished earnestly, you'd better be more careful from now on, watch out for him. Once he loses his temper, he doesn't care if you're male or female, he'll just start yelling and get physical. Hearing that, your brow furrowed deeper, thinking to yourself, he did yell today, but his later attitude wasn't that bad. You asked skeptically, is he really as bad as you say? Today he slept at his desk all day and didn't cause any trouble, except this morning he told his deskmate to get lost and got stopped by the teacher. Wu Mengmeng looked at you, her cousin, and feigned maturity while shaking her head, lamenting that you can't judge a person by appearances. Just like you seem so obedient and well-behaved on the surface, who would have thought you hang out in KTVs and nightclubs every day? In public you're a perfect top student and good boy, behind people's backs you're an arrogant social king. You rolled your eyes dramatically and replied icily, why drag me into it for no reason? Wu Mengmeng hastily waved her hand, alright, I won't mention you. Anyway, you should definitely keep an eye on Lu Ruyan. But today's thing was weird, his grades are really amazing. Despite being so one-sided in subjects, he's still solidly in the top 10 of the grade. It's enough to make people cry with envy. Top 10 in the grade? The 70 points the English teacher read aloud today flashed through your mind. The corner of your mouth twitched upward and you muttered to yourself, since you're here, someone is surely going to be mercilessly squeezed out of the top 10. Wu Mengmeng knew your abnormal ability well. After all, you were the Mu family's child they poured money into and raised intensely, and she proudly patted your back. Of course, our little brother is not someone ordinary can compare to. You idly stared down at your phone, sighing inwardly. You felt bored back home in Ningchang, and coming out here hasn't changed that. It's still utterly boring. You casually asked, when will uncle and auntie be back? Wu Mengmeng shrugged helplessly, who knows how they've arranged things. They'll probably be out gallivanting for at least another week. Staring blankly at the passing streets outside the window, your mind drifted and you asked offhand, Yan Huitang, are you free to hang out tonight? Wu Mengmeng instantly became alert. Just now she stared at you in horror. You wouldn't try to drag Yan Huitang to go mess around at his family's bar again, would you? Wu Mengmeng knew your roving ways as her cousin very well. You came a month earlier for summer break and spent a third of your time in bars. If your two terrifying older sisters found out, your little life wouldn't be safe at all. You waved her off indifferently, you should mind your own grades. You promised you'd unquestionably return home safely tonight. You couldn't be bothered with Wu Mengmeng's nagging anymore. She knew she couldn't stop you and finally sighed helplessly and let you go. Then you must take good care of yourself tonight. If anything happens to you, I can't pay your head as a penalty to your family. Glancing at your phone time idly, you sneered, look at you, do you think you're the kind of weakling who would get picked on when going out? Fine. Wu Mengmeng immediately shut up obediently. She thought to herself, as long as you don't beat someone into the hospital, that's already a blessing. Now she only prayed that no clueless person would dare provoke you, the great Buddha, otherwise she'd have to get up in the middle of the night to clean up your mess. As soon as you got back to the Wu residence, you strode into your own room, tossed your backpack onto the bed, messaged Yan Hui to confirm your meetup time, then expertly sat at the vanity to start fixing your makeup. You took out that slightly brownish-black nonconformist wig, carefully and expertly attached a few fringe pieces, and looked in the mirror to gripe. This black hair was still forced by your mom to be dyed back at the salon, always nagging that black hair looks obedient and neat, otherwise you'd look like some street punk. By the neon-lit bar entrance, Ashtray had been waiting quite a while. The two of you, familiar with each other's moves, found a perfect spot at the bar. Ashtray ordered 2 signature fruit cocktails from the bartender and casually slid one over to you. He looked you over in surprise. Didn't your semester just officially start these days? How come you still have time to sneak out and mess around late at night? You lifted the glass and took a small sip. The alcohol content didn't seem high and it tasted okay. You sneered and answered offhandedly, just bored out of my mind. What else would make me come out this late? You scoffed with disdain. The courses at BY were, compared to what you studied in Ningchang before, downright childish. The so-called culminating problems they boasted about weren't even as difficult as the pop quizzes your sister tossed at you, and passing people comparing themselves to others is infuriating. Ashtray gave you a sideways, annoyed look and retorted, then why did you, Mr. Big Shot, come all the way to this dump to suffer? Why not just follow your sister to that top elite high school in Ningchang and loaf your days away? You rolled your eyes hard. Do you think I'd happily waste my youth here? If I went to that elite school in Ningchang, I'd have to act all three good obedient boy every day. Here, at least my parents are far away and can't control me. I can still sneak out at night to enjoy myself like this. If I stayed in Ningchang, unless it's an official long holiday, you wouldn't even dream of stepping out the door. You snorted self-deprecatingly. After all, you were a proper scion of high society, boxed in by family formalities and ridiculous rules since childhood. To avoid being nagged by elders, you had to bury your truly wild nature deep inside. Ashtray clicked his tongue, shook his head, and sighed, tisk tisk tisk. Who'd believe this if you told them? Who would have thought that this outrageously handsome guy in the bar tonight is secretly the precious son born from the union of a former film king and the trillion-dollar Mew Corporation? Ashtray had seen you in your usual neat, well-behaved school uniform, so comparing that image to the rebellious, made-up, wig-wearing look before him, even your own father might not recognize you at first glance. The noisy bar was still a blur of lights and revelry. Men and women on the dance floor were crazily dancing and drinking, all sorts of people flowed past to the deafening music. Bored, listening to the blasting heavy metal rock on stage, you were slightly distracted. Then you suddenly turned to Ashtray and asked, those idiots who deliberately caused trouble at the entrance last time, haven't they dared to come back and stir up trouble again, have they? At the mere mention of that reckless gang last time, Ashtray couldn't help but let out a light laugh, his face full of satisfaction. With a badass like you personally coming down on them, those bastards would have long been permanently blacklisted from my dad's bar. The moment he finished speaking, a few very familiar, obsequious voices not far from you suddenly called out, Sister Yan, let's stick to the usual rules tonight. Whoever gets drank under first is to pay to rent the internet cafe for the whole night for the second half. Hearing the noise, you instinctively wanted to shrink back, but then you thought about your wild outfit tonight with their guts. They probably wouldn't recognize you. Boldly, you sneaked a glance toward the booth and your heart dropped. Sure enough, it was Lu Ruyan and that heartless bunch of classmates, and there were a few unfamiliar faces with them you hadn't seen before. Ashtray noticed your odd reaction, followed your gaze, and leaned in suspiciously to ask, what, big young master, you actually know those street types in that booth? You've been staring at them non-stop. You drew your eyes back, nodded slightly, and said two strange words with an odd expression, they're your classmates. Ashtray immediately put down his thin wine glass, disbelief written all over his face. Holy shit, your classmates? Which ones of those are your classmates? You tilted your chin and vaguely gestured in their direction, the girl sitting in the middle leading them, the tall guy to her left, and the one at the edge who's been idly playing with a Rubik's Cube. They're your. You pretended to be casual, idly swaying the glass in your hand. Ashtray's eyes widened instantly and he lowered his voice in an exclamation, no way. The leader isn't that the notorious school bully Lu Ruyan? Those people are regulars around our bar district. They may look young, but they're ruthless, nobody dares mess with them. Watching Ashtray get so worked up he almost stood up from the bar stool, you secretly rolled your eyes, thinking your ears had had enough of this. Could Lu Ruyan really be as formidable as the legends say? Why does everyone act like an egg who can't be pricked whenever she shows up? You floated a casual line, she's your deskmate now. The moment your thunderous words dropped, Ashtray's volume uncontrollably shot up about 8 decibels. His ragged voice instantly drew a large group of curious stares around, including Lu Ruyan's crew, who all turned to look this way. The booth wasn't actually that far from your bar, and sweating cold, Ashtray quickly and dexterously yanked him down and warned him through gritted teeth to shut up. Only then did Ashtray realize he'd caused trouble. He hurriedly tried to act calm, lifted his glass, and sipped to feign that nothing had happened. Luckily the bar's lighting was dim. From across the crowd they could only make out your blurred silhouette and the defiant long right leg kicked up on the crossbar of the stool. Did I just hear things? Meili scratched his head, face full of confusion. Isn't that Xiao Ji? Didn't Wu Mengmeng tell us today that Yan Ji's deskmate would be here? Little Cutie looked around but saw no one, though he clearly heard that voice. Maybe it really was my imagination. Zhu Yizi glanced around and pointed toward you. Those two boys again, they're always here. Everyone looked over, finding them more and more familiar. Little Cutie suddenly blurted out, that back, those legs, they're exactly like Yan Ji's deskmate. At the mention of Yan Ji's deskmate, the others stared a bit longer. Notice, the more you look, the more alike. Suddenly it clicked. No wonder it felt familiar. I saw Yan Ji's deskmate today. Turns out those two do look pretty similar. Yan Ji's deskmate is the model good student. Look at his hairstyle. Does he come here often? Last time when someone got hit we were all there. That build definitely isn't Yan Ji's deskmates. Meili happened to catch sight of the 4 or 5 piercings at your ear, which looked painful. Obviously a tough guy, not comparable to Yan Ji's obedient boy. Lu Ruyan said nothing, staring at you. The light fell on her high nose, and a charming smile appeared on her red lips. After a while, when the girls went into a private room, you finally breathed a quiet sigh of relief. Don't ruin my good image. Aren't you both excited and surprised? The Ashtray still hadn't come to its senses. Lu Ruyan is VIP, wealthy family, excellent student. Guys chasing her often come to block here. Since she's your deskmate, it's not strange. If seats change they might not sit together. Don't take it to heart. BY semester is starting and there'll be exams soon. After that seating will be rearranged by grades. The Ashtray nudged your arm. I have a feeling you two will end up as deskmates again. Maybe you can win him over. So far no guys made him fall for them. Seeing it was nearly time, you finished the last sip of fruit wine. Come on, he's from a totally different world than me. Except I might be a bit late. My family is scholarly and refined. His family has a gangster background completely unrelated. Though I'm a little rebellious, there are still things I wouldn't touch. Being with Lu Ruyan would definitely end badly. I'm off, we have class tomorrow. You glanced at your phone, stood up, and walked out. The ashtray knew your personality and didn't see you to the door, letting you go out alone. At home you messaged that you were back at the Wu residence and didn't disturb Wu Mengmeng. After washing your hair, showering, and removing makeup, you lay in bed scrolling your phone. YYMO asked, how was it today? Settling in? You replied, it's okay, the textbooks are much easier than Ningxin's. YYMO said, I don't get it, you insisted on coming to Baikan, I really don't understand. They said to let me enjoy 2 carefree years, then follow the family's arrangement. YYMO, good night. You turned off your phone and tossed it aside, fate scene set from birth. Your parents were open-minded, letting you play, but you still had to learn to pretend. You murmured softly, Lu Ruyan, what kind of person is he, really? Thinking that, you gradually fell asleep and had a pleasant dream. The next day you came to class on time, the people behind and beside you didn't show up, probably catching up on sleep from last night. Du Zidong in the front row turned around excitedly, Mu Ge, the guys in the dorm were talking about you last night. About how handsome you are, or about your deskmate Lu Ruyan. You took out your textbook and pencil case, both good and bad things, I'm used to it. Since childhood many things have come at you head-on, your looks and background destined you to be a target. Du Zitong grinned, they're extremely jealous. You looked at the naive, innocent boy in front of you and shook your head with a bitter smile, the teacher will call on people to recite later, get ready quickly, there's an exam this afternoon. All morning you didn't see Lu Ruyan, compared to others, the side next to you felt much quieter. When morning class ended, everyone hurried to set up the exam room. You and Du Zitong packed up and went to the cafeteria together. On the way Du Zitong chatted and joked, first time here, right? The second floor is pricier but really good. The first floor is ordinary, on Wednesdays the third floor has a self-serve open. All kinds of people passed by, a few slowed their pace wanting to get closer to you. You frowned slightly, displeased, and pulled Du Zidong to walk faster. People in Baikan looked at you like you were a monkey, which made you very uncomfortable. You decided to eat something simple on the first floor. Shortly after sitting down you saw 2 people carrying trays looking for a seat. Du Zitong was puzzled, aren't they always on the second floor? Why are they on the first floor now? And those 2 are sworn enemies. You kept your head down eating and didn't respond. It was only the second day, everyone was still unfamiliar. Bang! Jisai walked over, pretending to slip and spilled food to your left. Du Zitong, angry, stood up, you did that on purpose. You never come to the first floor, suddenly showing up here, there's definitely something fishy. Your face showed no ripple, you pulled a tissue from your pocket and gently wiped, then slowly stood up, eyes fixed on Jisai and Zhuang Bai. You remembered them, one was from your class, the other the boy who sat where you sat yesterday. Zhuang Bai handed over his tray and offered a tissue, don't be mad, it wasn't on purpose. You didn't look at him, he awkwardly raised his hand. You grabbed the untouched clear soup and suddenly splashed it at Jisai. No one reacted in time, you walked forward smiling, but your eyes were icy and your mockery chilling, next time it won't just be soup. Don't eat that, don't waste it. Better feed it to pigs than you. Saying that, you took the tray straight to the trash and cleaned off the food. Du Zidong hurried after you, panting, Mu Ge, maybe go to my dorm to shower and change clothes first? It's awkward for you like this, and there's an exam this afternoon. You agreed, went to the dorm, took out your phone and made a call, then turned to Du Zitong, wait, when I shower, someone will bring clothes to the dorm downstairs. I'll give you my phone, help me answer the call and pick up the clothes. Du Zitong was stunned, he hadn't expected you, who seemed so obedient, to have a phone. Pretty cool. You were led to Du Zitong's room, no one was there. The Baikan dorms were nice, 4-person rooms with private bathrooms, lofted beds with desks underneath, each person having their own space. Du Zitong handed you shower gel and a bucket and a disposable towel, luckily my mom stashed a few disposable towels. Slippers are here. You nodded, changed shoes, put on the slippers and went into the bathroom to shower. When you were almost done, Du Zitong handed over a bag with clean clothes inside. You changed and came out, water mist on your face making you look clean and refreshed, the stray hair on your forehead added a casual touch. Thanks for today. You thanked him, took the phone, sat down and changed your shoes. Du Zitong smiled and said, we're all friends. Bro, you actually know Wu Mengmeng from class 2? You had already known when you asked her to hand you your clothes. She looked surprised. After tying her shoelaces, she stood and replied softly, I know her, but not in the way you think, she's my cousin. Du Zitong's eyes widened at the word cousin. Cousin. As everyone knows, Wu Mengmeng comes from a well-off, scholarly family, her parents are influential, and many boys at school chase after her. So you. Du Zitong didn't finish the thought. Seeing her a mix of surprise and delight, you smiled and started blow-drying your hair. I'm fine, don't overthink it. I came here to hide out for a bit, my family wants me to enjoy 2 years. Du Zitong dared not speculate further. If she's Wu Mengmeng's brother, her family must be impressive. That explained how capable you were. You flicked your hair, a few stray strands made you look youthful and sunny. Will you be in the dorm at noon? Forget it, I'll go back with you. The guy probably wouldn't show up at noon anyway. You grabbed a pen and review materials from the dorm. The classroom hadn't really quieted for lunch, it was noisy. There was an exam in the afternoon and the teachers weren't managing things. You and Du Zitong returned to the classroom, which was now quiet. You sat back down when Mei Liangzhen suddenly patted your back. You jumped, frowned, and turned. We didn't come this morning, missed the fun your noon performance spread around. Mei Liangzhen grinned, didn't expect you to be this impressive. Jisai is universally considered the school's heartthrob, good family, good looking, others can only be bullied by him. Be careful then. The word bully isn't in your vocabulary. You said nothing, turned your head back, and resumed studying. Are you hurt? A voice beside you suddenly asked, startling you. You looked up and saw Lu Ruyan, meeting his calm eyes. Looking closely, Lu Ruyan wore an earring in his left ear, bold but oddly attractive. I'm fine, you replied lightly. The next moment Lu Ruyan leaned in and whispered with a smile, you're so capable, you can only bully others. That startled you. What's going on? Does Lu Ruyan know something? Or did he catch you at some point? But last night you only ran into him for a few minutes before leaving. Besides, when have you ever bullied anyone? You pinched your thigh discreetly, forcing calm as you met Lu Ruyan's gaze and asked in confusion, what are you talking about? I don't understand a word. Lu Ruyan laughed softly and leisurely pulled out his textbook. Don't disappoint me in the afternoon exam, I have high hopes for you. You turned back to your book in annoyance, but your mind couldn't focus on a single word, thinking, what does Lu Ruyan know? And how much does he know? After handing in the entrance exam, everyone gradually returned to the class and waited for the homeroom teacher's instructions. New GE, want to go out and hang this afternoon? We just finished the exam anyway. Du Ziai turned from the front row. Many of the boys in the class had plans to go out that afternoon after all. The sports meet is coming up, and everyone will be able to wear their own clothes then. This private high school in the north has students from wealthy families. Wearing the uniform usually hides that, so on occasions like this everyone wants to show off. While packing your bag, you plan not to return to the Wu household with Wu Mengmeng today. Before coming to Baikan you promised your family that whenever there was a break long or short you would go home. Besides, driving from Baikan to Ningcheng only takes a little over 2 hours, so the round trip is quite convenient. Not today, I'm afraid. You refused in one breath. It wouldn't be wrong to tell your parents, but when you first came here you spent the whole summer visiting every fun place in the area, and you hadn't been home for over a month. You were actually a bit homesick. Just then Zhu Yizi came over looking for Lu Ruyan. Seeing you still hadn't left, she immediately sidled up. Bro, I have to call you bro, what happened at lunch yesterday was wild. You frowned slightly, puzzled why was everyone reacting like that. It was just a bowl of soup splashed on Jisai, right? New, do you want to hang out with us today? The cutie invited, sneaking a glance at Lu Ruyan. You zipped your bag and stood up. No, I'm going home. What's fun about going home? Baikan has so many fun places. Zhu Yizi hooked an unfeeling arm around your shoulder, looking earnest. Your eyelashes fluttered, you pushed your chair under the desk, going back to Ningcheng. After greeting Du Ziteng, you strode out of the classroom. Damn, first time I notice you in the front row. Look pretty sharp, sweet when you smile, intense when you cry. Zhu Yizi watched your departing back and couldn't help but sigh. You even dared mess with someone like Jisai, definitely not ordinary. Unfeelingly, she shrugged off his hand from her shoulder. What, you still trying to chase her? That's not impossible. Ow, Yanji, you're too ruthless. Before Zhu Yizi finished, Lu Ruyan kicked her hard. Impatience flashed in Lu Ruyan's eyes as she slung on her bag. Aren't we leaving? Let's go, let's go. The three of them shoved some things into bags and followed Lu Ruyan out of the classroom. At the school gate you called your family. Dad said he'd send someone to pick you up and told you to wait at the gate. You picked a less crowded spot and, head down, idly swung your legs. A pair of sneakers suddenly entered your view. You looked up sharply and it was your twin sister. Surprised, you asked, you're picking me up today? Got that much free time? Niu Lu reached out and ruffled your hair. At 16, he was already 1.78 m. He looked at you with a rare smile. Just came to see if you're doing okay. Your sister's always full of nonsense. You spun around to him. I'm fine, haven't lost any weight, don't worry. Niu Lu shook his head at you helplessly. There's really nothing to be done with you. You were about to speak when Jisai stepped out the gate and saw you and the striking girl beside you. Who's this? The girlfriend even came to pick you up at school. How shameless. Her face held a proud aloofness, her eyes a cold clarity. She gave off an unmistakable keep-away aura. Her neat black hair reflected a smooth sheen in the sunlight, the tip slightly golden, so beautiful it sparked jealousy. With a look like that, Niu Lu would stand out even at BY. Aside from Lu Ruyan, there seemed no one else who could match him. Seeing that disgustingly beautiful face annoyed you, and you snorted coldly. What, since when do you get to meddle in my private affairs? Forget what I told you yesterday? Next time it won't be just a bowl of soup. Jisai's eyes instantly reddened, tears glistening, looking pitifully at the shower gel beside you. Big sister, please don't be fooled by him. He's a complete scoundrel. He even threw soup at me yesterday at noon. You need to see his true colors early. He's not worthy of you at all. You cross your arms, standing nonchalantly next to the shower gel, quietly watching Jisai put on a show. How ridiculous. But you had no intention of speaking. It was the perfect chance for your sister's sharp tongue to show him what she's like. Sure enough, Niu Yellow parted his thin lips lightly. A bowl of soup is too cheap for him. I think a whole bucket would be more fitting. Let him see how ugly he really is. Poof. You silently gave your sister 100 thumbs up. True to our Mu family, the cutting tongue of hers leaves you humbled. Jisai's face went instantly green, as if he'd swallowed a green-headed fly. The two hangers-on beside him couldn't stand it. Mu Ge, don't be too arrogant. The Jiu family is rich and powerful, and his parents spoil him. If you mess with him, just wait, his parents will make sure you suffer. You clicked your tongue twice, the corner of your mouth lifting, even clapping. Oh my, such deep brotherly feelings. Tell me, are you after his money or his status? You arched a brow at them, your face full of disdain. I'm really looking forward to it. How exactly will they make me suffer? The two boys were silenced by your comeback. Niu Yellow lowered his head and smiled, putting an arm around your shoulder. He snorted twice. Argue with fools and you'll only look uneducated. Let's go, sis, we'll take you to eat something delicious. Watching the two of you walk away, Jisai bit his lip until it nearly bled. His two boys wanted to step forward to comfort him. Get lost. What's the use of you bunch of trash? Jisai shrugged them off and turned to leave. Niu Ge, I'll make you regret this, otherwise I wouldn't be called Jisai. Meanwhile, a few girls had witnessed the whole thing. Holy crap, is that the guy who sits in front of you? He's so handsome, I'm swooning. Zhu Yizi leaned on the heartless shoulder. Get lost. Don't be so effeminate like you. Little cutie looked at Lu Ruyan, her expression darkening. Others might not have noticed, but he was as clear as a mirror in his mind. Yan Ji, did you know your deskmate has a boyfriend? Lu Ruyan paused mid-motion and got on her bike, none of my damn business. The remaining three looked at each other and silently followed. In the car, Mu Yellow's expression hadn't improved since getting in. You hung your head guiltily. Your Mu family always helps relatives first over reason, and his look made it clear he knew you had been bullied. You immediately smiled with eyes curved, looping your arm through Mu Yellow's, putting on a pitiful act. Good sister, don't be angry, okay? Look at me, I'm fine. It's not worth ruining my health over being mad. Mu Yellow fell for your coaxing most of all, but he still stared at you, making you uneasy. Finally, he slowly spoke, tell me, what happened with that bowl of soup? Mu Yellow folded his hands and rested comfortably against the back seat, adopting a posture as if ready to listen attentively. You brushed aside the stray hairs at your temples, straightened your back, and looked Mu Yellow in the eye. It was that boy. He deliberately splashed the vegetable soup all over me. I hate wasting food more than anything, so I gave him back my portion of the vegetables. There happened to be a bowl of egg drop soup nearby, so I gave that to him too. If this had happened anywhere else, I definitely wouldn't have been so lucky. Seeing you gnash your teeth like that, Mu Yellow's stern expression finally gave way. You just arrived and already got into trouble? What happened this time? Ever since you were little, your looks have caused unnecessary trouble. When you were young, Mu Yelu and her older sisters always protected you and fought countless fights on your behalf. That's why when you wanted to learn taekwondo and judo, your family agreed so readily. You waved it off indifferently, pretending to know nothing. Who knows, maybe I'm just too good looking. He took my seat and talked to my deskmate. I asked him to move, and after a few words it escalated just that. The topic turned to your deskmate Lu Ruyan. A flicker of something crossed your eyes. Wasn't he the school bully or the campus beauty from BY? Either way, he's pretty well known. I heard he doesn't like studying, but my cousin said his grades are actually very good, otherwise how would he get into the science experimental class? Mu Yulu didn't pursue the topic and instead took out her tablet, opening an app she often used. Your sister's pastime was a platform where top detective fans worldwide gather. It not only has global leaderboards, but each case is adapted from real events, letting players immerse themselves. Even more impressive, the top 10 global players are invited to be involved in discussions of real-world difficult cases. Your sister's intelligence has consistently ranked in the top 3 on that platform for years. She turned a mere time-killing game into that level. As for you, you mostly listen to music and scroll Weibo to pass the time. The car slowly pulled into Yujing Court. As soon as you walked in, you looked everywhere for your father's figure. Mu Ge is back, your mother said, hurrying up to you and giving you an up and down once over. Under her scrutinizing gaze, you smiled broadly. Mom, I haven't lost weight at all. I'm eating well, feeling even a little fat. Alright, go wash your hands. After dinner, your dad and sister are going out something to do, so they'll probably be back late. Let's eat first and wait for them. You obediently nodded, then went upstairs to your room. The house was really far away, so you skipped the early study session and dashed into class on the bell. You had just sat down when Du Zitong leaned over and said, I thought you'd vanished into thin air. You nonchalantly organized your textbooks and lazily replied, what are you imagining? It takes 2 hours to get from Baikan. My parents asked for leave because they were worried I'd be late. Besides, isn't today just about going over papers and switching seats? At the mention of switching seats, you instinctively glanced at Lu Ruyan. Surprisingly, she wasn't late today for once, but as usual she was face down on the desk, sleeping soundly. The moment homeroom teacher Ai Chu stepped into the classroom, the whole class immediately fell so quiet you could hear a pin drop. He held not only test papers but also the report card that would determine their fates. His gaze swept the room, his expression not particularly stern. This entrance test was just to get a baseline. After all, you were only just assigned to classes, but as the experimental class, your grades can't sink. And the teacher said this test was unusually hard, yet someone in our class still scored 650, English 145, Math 140. No sooner had he said that than the classroom erupted. Who is that good? In 10th grade and already getting those scores? Keep drilling a few more practice tests and they'll be off to the skies. It's definitely Lu Ruyan, his math's always insane. But hasn't his math always been full marks? What's with English 145? Did he grind all summer or what? The students' chatter swelled in waves. In the BY experimental class, the pace of study feels like riding a rocket. By 10th grade you need to cover all 3 years of high school, then endure a year and a half of brutal review. In such a terrifying regime, someone still managing to score like that is terrifyingly capable. BY's exams are famed for their difficulty. Scoring 600 is a struggle, let alone 650. Ai Chu raised his hand to quiet them and then picked up the roster. Top 10 in the grade, our class is 5 tied with the experimental class next door. But we have 2 of the top 3, and the grade first place, which is also our class first, is Mu Ge. No way, seriously? Mu Ge actually stole Lu Ruyan's forever first spot. The nearby slack-jawed student immediately snapped out of it. Grade third, class second is Lu Ruyan. After Ai Chu finished reading the top 10, he put the list down. Mu Ge, as a transfer student, burst out of the gate with a trump card, beating the second place by a full 40 points. The commotion was so big it even woke Lu Ruyan, who lazily lifted his eyelids and couldn't help looking your way for a moment. You, however, kept your head down reading, expression calm. A lifetime of elite education had made you used to scenes like this. Besides, the score this time hadn't met your expectations. Chinese and science were an epic Waterloo. Lu Ruyan muttered a curse under his breath. Ai Chu then handed back the report cards and answer sheets and told everyone to stand and wait in the corridor to have their desks rearranged. There was also an unspoken rule: seats in the experimental class are arranged strictly by grades. If you're good enough, you can pick the center seat. You were the first to walk back into the classroom, your gaze sweeping the now empty desks before you sat back in your original seat, partly because you were too lazy to move, and partly because your height sitting in the front row obstructed others too much. You had only sat down a short while when Lu Ruyan strolled in, snorted upon seeing you, and swaggered back to his old seat. You slightly frowned. Weren't you the one who hated having a deskmate the most? Why didn't he go sit alone in the corner? Lu Ruyan flopped over his desk, eyes burning as he stared at you. I want to ask how you managed seamless continuity and still get such crazy scores? Suddenly having a deskmate doesn't seem so bad. What the heck? Seamless continuity? Your face flushed and paled in rapid succession. How much did he actually know? Your mind became a jumble, but outwardly you feigned calm. Excellence is my instinct. Whether it's fun to have me around depends on personal taste. Lu Ruyan didn't say another word. The others drifted back into the classroom one after another and, finding the two of you still sitting together, were nearly dumbfounded. Only then did they each find their own seats. Du Zitang ranked middle of the class and, without thinking, sat in front of you. Xiao Kai and Mai Liangzhen's grades were a bit dismal. Mai Liangzhen had to grudgingly sit in the row in front of Lu Ruyan and ended up as Du Zitang's deskmate. That left the tallest boy in class sitting behind you, Ren Minbi, a guy who made no attempt to hide his crush on Xiao Kai. Mai Liangzhen turned his head and immediately started gossiping. Yanji, look, that Ren Minbi has some nerve, blatantly chasing Xiao Kai like that. Her gossiping mouth never rested. But in that area the boys and girls mixed together as they walked, unlike other places where same-sex groups clustered, which made for an interesting scene. Xiao Kai kept her head down playing with a Rubik's Cube. Ren Minbi was quiet too, lost in thought about who knows what. Once everyone was seated, Ai Chu strolled in, looked around with satisfaction. The new seating arrangement actually seemed pretty harmonious. The smoke from the opening term exams had barely cleared before the school's regular event, the sports meet, was back on the schedule. With less than a month until the opening, Ai Chu went on to announce related matters. North City's sports meet was fixed, come rain or shine, for the end of September. Once it finished, the National Day holiday would start immediately. What an arrangement! Fun without worry, study without distraction. The classroom buzzed with discussion. Mai Liangzhen turned and said, Yanji, let's skip the sports meet again this year. It doesn't concern us one bit. Lu Ruyan ignored him, but overheard you chatting with Du Zitang. I don't really care either way. If no one in class can be found, I can fill in. Du Zitang sighed. My PE is terrible anyway, but I think our class's banner holder should be you. Seeing your blank look, he hurriedly explained, the banner holder is the one who leads the team at the front during the opening ceremony. Each class picks a boy, usually the one everyone agrees is the most attractive, since he's the face of the class. And the banner holder is almost always chosen by a vote of the whole class. You replied disinterestedly with an O, thinking that this sort of public-facing role was indeed a headache. Ai Chu cleared his throat. As an honors class, I expect not only top academics but also top athletics. I hope everyone will sign up enthusiastically and bring glory to the class. No sooner had he finished speaking than the class atmosphere ignited. Teacher, shouldn't we pick the team leader soon? Yes, the team leader is the main event. Science classes always had more girls than boys, and the girls' enthusiasm for events like this was off the charts, especially when it came to choosing a leader. They were like they had been injected with adrenaline. At the mention of banner holder, Zhuang Bai immediately straightened up. He himself had been the banner holder for the honors class before and was determined to get it again this year. He glanced around and was surprised to find the focus of discussion was actually another name, Mu Ge. I think Mu Ge is the perfect choice. Handsome, his grades are insanely good, and look, even Yan Ji is willing to sit with him. Exactly, and it was Lu Ruyan who moved to sit with him. I'm definitely voting for Mu Ge. Hearing the murmurs around him, Zhuang Bai's expression darkened instantly, and his hand resting on his leg unconsciously clenched into a fist. What kind of thing is Mu Ge? Who does he think he is stealing my limelight? After a heated discussion, everyone finally decided that the boys who wanted to hold the sign would go on stage to perform a talent, then the class would vote. Whoever got the most votes would go. Zhuang Bai was the first to raise his hand and walk onto the podium. His family was well off and he had practiced dance since childhood. He performed the current hottest boy group routine, and the audience immediately erupted into applause. A smug smile tugged at Zhuang Bai's mouth. Just wait, the captain spot is definitely mine. Anyone else want to come up and try? The boys in the audience looked at each other. Mainly no one wanted to pick a fight with Zhuang Bai, and none of them had much talent. The classroom was left with only whispers. No one dared to go up. Mu Ge, aren't you going to try? Du Zitang turned to ask you, convinced you were the destined one. You didn't even lift an eyelid, continuing to flip through the book in your hands, not interested. Mei Liangzhen turned her head to join the fun. Hey, you should try. Maybe the new class heartthrob is you. I'm already sick of Zhuang Bai's face. Mei Liangzhen's voice was loud, and all eyes instantly snapped to you. Zhuang Bai's face went green on the spot. He narrowed his eyes, then forced a smile. Mu Ge, since everyone wants to see, why not come up and try? Don't spoil everyone's fun. You raised an eyelid, thinking, here comes another troublemaker. The boys at this school sure love causing trouble one after another. Mu Ge, Mu Ge. The girls in the class had already started cheering. Such a good-looking top student who also has crazy grades. If he could dance too, their class would be lucky. What, don't dare to come up? Or you just can't do anything at all? It'd be a shame to disappoint everyone. Hearing the rising cheers, Zhuang Bai's expression grew uglier. You closed your book and stood up, thinking, I'm really giving you face, lose later and we'll see where you cry to. Calm and composed, you walked onto the podium and signaled the teacher to play the song Zhuang Bai had just danced to. As soon as the music's prelude started, you slid into the groove. Light footwork, graceful posture, bending, rising, spinning, heart signs. The whole routine flowed smoothly like a river. Your slightly boyish handsome face, paired with dark brows, bright eyes, and a high nose bridge, looked a little aloof, yet exuded confident radiance in every gesture. The breath of youth washed over, making you a completely different person from the aloof top student. When you danced, it seemed like stars shone in your eyes, your moves were clean and sharp, your expression management was flawless. Even the final wink landed like Cupid's arrow, striking straight into everyone's hearts. When you smiled, that sweet dimple made it impossible to look away. Holy crap. I'm dead. How can there be such a handsome guy? Sister Yan, Brother Lu, what kind of deity has descended? From today on I'm his die-hard fan, I must pick him. Mei Liangzhen was so excited she could barely speak, nagging non-stop in Lu Ruyan's ear. Shut up. Lu Ruyan kicked Mei Liangzhen's stool with her foot and awkwardly rubbed her nose. Zhuangbai's face was a riot of colors now. Mu Ji's sense of dance was unexpectedly so good, and he didn't even flush or pant after a whole routine, which is hard even for someone who's trained since childhood. His fist clenched tighter. The vote was predictable, you became Science Class 1's new placard holder. You didn't feel anything special about it. If the whole class hadn't been egging you on and Zhuangbai hadn't provoked you, who would want this lousy job? Damn, Mu, you've been hiding your talent too well. If you went on a talent show you'd definitely be the center. I'm your hardcore fan from now on. Mei Liangzhen had completely become your little fanboy. Your head was aching, you'd really gotten yourself into big trouble. Yeah, Brother Lu, you dance so amazingly. How can someone be this perfect? You were so thirsty from dancing that you twisted open your water bottle and took a sip when a familiar, annoying voice drifted over. Handsome boy, is there anything you can't do? Ahem. You widened your eyes, looked at the girl beside you grinning with a rogue look, and forced one syllable through your teeth. Get out. Lu Ruyan's smile stretched wider, increasingly wicked. Mei Liangzhen wore an expression of pure question marks. What on earth were these two performing? At the start of term Sister Yan told Mu Ji to get lost, now Mu Ji told Sister Yan to get lost. Was this the fabled gentleman's revenge, immediate retaliation, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth? Everyone quiet. Ai Chu wrapped the podium with a book, and the chaotic noise in the classroom slowly subsided. Since classes were just reassigned and we need a new student council, I don't think an election is necessary. I've considered everyone's positions in first year across classes and referenced the recent grades, so I'm temporarily appointing the following students as class officers. If anyone has objections, wait until I finish speaking. Class Monitor, Lu Ruyan, Vice Monitor and Youth League Secretary, Zhuangbai, Study Commissioner, Mu Ji, Arts and Entertainment Commissioner, Du Ziteng, Sports Commissioner, Lu Yang, Discipline and Life Commissioner combined, Zheng Yuanming. Any objections? Lu Ruyan lazily raised her hand. The class monitor has too much to do, I'm annoyed. Ai Chu saw through her little scheme at once and smiled. We know the young miss is lazy, just put your name down, Zhuangbai will handle things if anything comes up, or you can ask the class committee member. Only then did Lu Ruyan satisfactorily lower her hand. That's more like it. Sports Commissioner, remember to organize sign UPS for the sports meet, next study period. The Discipline Commissioner maintain order. Okay, it's settled, class dismissed. Oh yo. It was as if they'd received a great pardon. The classroom instantly became lively. New, your fangirl online is begging for your WeChat. Mei Liangzhen turned from the front row with an expectant face. The moment Du Zitang heard the word WeChat, he shot Mei Liangzhen a fierce glare. You and I are good buds, if anyone's adding, it's me first. You're that close and still haven't added each other on WeChat? Mei Liangzhen taunted sarcastically, which infuriated Du Zitang. You couldn't help snorting with laughter with these two characters in front. Days ahead would definitely be entertaining. You pulled out your phone and opened your WeChat QR code. Scan it, everyone. Yay yay yay. Du Zitang quickly turned and scanned your code. Mei Liangzhen also promptly took out his phone to scan, looking at you with curiosity. Didn't expect me to have a phone too? Can't have one? You were about to put your phone away when Lu Ruyan grabbed it and slowly scanned your QR code. The words you were about to say were forcefully swallowed. This guy really had a thick skin. Doesn't the school ban phones? Du Zitang paused after adding you, reacting to what you'd said. You approved each friend request. My old school never had such a crappy rule. Rules are rigid, people are flexible, right, Xiao Mu? Mei Liangzhen teased you with a smirk. Xiao Mu? Is that your WeChat name? Xiao Mu is quite a contrast to your cool demeanor. You calling him Xiao Mu? Du Zitang huffed. This fatso had stolen all the spotlight. Naya, not convinced? Xiao Mu sounds like a nickname, calling him Mu is too formal, Xiao Mu is more close. Mei Liangzhen's tongue was something else. Whoa! Mei Liangzhen suddenly shouted, and the whole classroom went quiet, everyone's eyes snapping to him. He hurriedly waved his hands. Nothing, carry on, I was just admiring our little dove's moments. You were puzzled by that. Wah, me too. New bro, your dyed hair looked so good. Du Zitang scrolled through your moments as well. Although you set them to be viewable for 3 days only, there were still quite a few photos. The latest was a set of cool shots of you with gradient purple hair, sitting on a racing bike. You only smiled, too lazy to explain. I really want to dye my hair too, but my parents say I have to wait until after the college entrance exam. Du Zitang said with envy. Then he had a sudden idea. Let's get piercings. If we do it now, we can wear pretty earrings at the sports meet. So does that mean I can get one too? Sister Yan looks so pretty with earrings, maybe I could be pretty too. That's handsome for her, for you it's just flashy. The two of them bantered, tearing each other down, and you could only shake your head with a helpless smile. Xiao Mu, want to go get it pierced together? You lift your head, exposing your whole ear. I might not have anywhere left to pierce. The two of them practically pressed their faces up to your ear to take a closer look, almost calling out without shame, but Liu Yuyan killed the impulse with a look. Wow, so cool. On your left ear now, from the earlobe upward there are 3 holes, one on the anti-helix, one on the tragus, 5 in total. On the right ear, besides the symmetrical lobe hole, there's one on the helix. Even Liu Yuyan couldn't help glancing again, thinking this handsome guy really has personality. So many, doesn't it hurt? And some are on the bone. Du Zitang winced just looking at it. It's okay, I got them early, I don't really feel it anymore. You touched your piercings, because you'd had them done long ago, even if you didn't wear studs at school they wouldn't close up. You opened your phone. Why was there a new group chat notification? Class committee group, grade 2 class 1, BY. When did you get added? Liu Yuyan added you to the group. You glanced at the girl beside you and your eyes met. Why did you suddenly add me? Aren't you a class officer? My dear study monitor. Liu Yuyan's mouth wore a faint, ambiguous smile, the corner of her eye slightly lifted as she looked at you. Thanks. You quickly broke eye contact. By rights you should be jaded, surrounded by beautiful girls, so why did your heart still race when you saw Liu Yuyan? What a reincarnated demon. Math teacher Li Zai walked in holding his lesson plan, his face betraying no particular emotion. Oldly looks pretty cheerful today. Did our class ace the math test? More or less, nothing dramatic. You've all received your score sheets, so I won't say much. The class average is 119.4, I won't mention the grade average, no need. We're a science class, if we can't even pull up the grade average in math that would be embarrassing. Those dragging us down need to step it up. Besides Liu Yuyan, I didn't expect the transfer student you to be so strong. Stand up so the teacher can see. Li Zai pushed up his glasses and saw a boy standing in the second to last row. What surprised him more was that his deskmate was Liu Yuyan. He was momentarily stunned, then smiled. You and Liu Yuyan as deskmates really is a powerhouse pairing. Interested in being my math class representative? Damn, Oldly actually offered. Those who knew him well knew this was the school's famously sharp-tongued math teacher, a smiling tiger, but his teaching was top-notch and everyone respected him. He actually invited someone to be class rep last term. Liu Yuyan was too lazy, and he didn't think highly of the others' grades, so he let the study monitor collect homework and left the rep spot vacant. You were a little stunned, unsure how to answer. Suddenly a lazy voice sounded. Pointless, he's already the study monitor. Study monitor, perfect, just like last term. You can also collect math homework for me. You'll take on the class rep duties too, very easy. Nothing else, sit down. Li Zai waved his hand, indicating you should sit. The Oldly is grinning like a flower. It must be because he thinks Mu Ge is handsome. I've never seen him smile like that. Your butt had barely touched the bench when Heartless turned his head and whispered a complaint. Who told you you're naturally beautiful? Why would I turn that down? The girl beside him let the corner of her mouth lift almost imperceptibly. The smile vanished in an instant. Heartless had a strong premonition that if these two were deskmates, in less than half a year they'd end up exactly alike. This unabashed narcissism, isn't it just like Sister Yan? Li Zai was the same as always, skipping the straightforward baseline questions, as usual only going over the last 3 multiple choice problems, the last 2 fill-ins, and the final 2 long questions, leaving the rest for them to sort out and occasionally mentioning something in class. You hadn't really been listening, you missed the last fill-in and the last few steps of the final long problem. You bent over your scratch paper, rechecking the fill-in repeatedly. The method was fine, but the result came out different from the answer. Your sharply featured face crumpled, fingers nervously twirling your pen. The substituted values on both sides weren't the same. How could they be equal? You looked up sharply and ran right into Lu Ruyan's gaze. No, he had been watching you work on the problem the whole time. Lu Ruyan had one arm lazily propped behind her head, the elongated corners of her eyes slightly upturned, and her cool pale skin showed not a single flaw. It was the first time you'd looked at her so closely and you went a little dazed. Lu Ruyan suddenly leaned over. What, are you stunned by my stunning beauty? You blinked in alarm, thinking our proximity is way too close. Narcissist. You picked up your pen again and bent back to the paper, but your ears betrayed you and began to flush. Lu Ruyan's smile was laden with meaning. She leisurely lay back down. Next period was study hall. The 3 science teachers had laid down the law. Everyone had to sort out their wrong answers in advance and ask classmates if they didn't understand. If no one in the class knew, the teacher would reteach it tomorrow. Sister Yan, we're counting on you for science. 2/3 of my paper I couldn't do. Please carry me. Heartless clutched at her like crazy. He glanced at you. Xiao Mu, how'd you do on science? You shook your head. Terrible. 255. Classic brag. Heartless went quiet. Wah, then we all have to rely on Sister Yan. She's a freak no matter how hard or easy the test. She always gets full marks in science and math, and only 150 combined in Chinese and English, yet somehow she always nails the 600 mark. You spaced out a little hearing that. If her sciences are that strong and her arts improve, what then? Truly a strange person. That's not brainless, it's missing a screw. Ha 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 ha. Heartless rough laughter made your ears ache. Lu Ruyan's expression darkened and she shot Heartless a glare. Are you sick? Not sick, not sick. Sister Yan, we're counting on you. I seriously couldn't do a single question. You said nothing and kept studying your paper. Biology and chemistry were okay. Physics was only about 70-some problem types you genuinely hadn't seen before. You took a photo and sent it to your brother. No, so many mistakes. That's not like your level. Don't mention it. This was my worst test ever. Don't tell mom and dad. The physics long problems were types I've never seen. Crying. YYMO, let me see. At that moment Lu Ruyan could no longer stand Heartless pestering and had started explaining the problems to him. The classroom quieted considerably because this physics section was especially hard. Most people only scored 50 or 60, some got 30 or 40. No one dared to ask Lu Ruyan, who could get full marks, except for Heartless who had the nerve. So everyone pricked up their ears to eavesdrop on Lu Ruyan teaching Heartless, furiously taking notes as they listened. But immediately after came Lu Ruyan's increasingly impatient tone. After all, the person in front of her was completely clueless. Damn, clueless, did you sneak into the advanced class through connections? You can't even tell the direction of the force, why are you even studying? I already said, just plug into the formula directly, just plug into a formula, use your hands, right? Clueless's fragile little heart suffered tons of damage. The students eavesdropping in the front rows broke into cold sweats, they were equally baffled. This couldn't be blamed on Clueless. Which direction, which formula to use, which value never mind, their brains couldn't handle it. Mu Ge, do you get it? Du Zitang turned and asked you, thinking you were also listening to Lu Ruyan explain the problem. You shook your head, not yet, I'm waiting for my brother to text me back. Instead of waiting for your brother, why not beg me? I'll teach you. Lu Ruyan acted like someone who enjoyed a show, his tone lazy with a hint of provocation. Get lost. Clueless and Du Zitang exchanged a puzzled glance, then tried hard not to laugh. It seemed Mu Ge was the only one who could put Sister Yan in her place. The quiet classroom echoed only your crisp get lost. Everyone held their breath to see Lu Ruyan's reaction, silently worrying for you. You tell me to get lost and I get lost, wouldn't that be so humiliating? I won't. No sooner had he spoken than he snatched your test paper. The last two questions are basically the same type, similar. Lu Ruyan picked up the red pen in your hand. Don't stare at me, look at the paper. You hadn't intended to argue with him either, since he volunteered to explain, you were happy to relax. These two problems mainly have ambiguous directions because they're in motion. Just segment and isolate them, even if there are many unknowns, assume some variables and they'll cancel out in the end. As Lu Ruyan spoke, he circled the key formulas on your paper. Just as he was about to continue, you snatched the paper back. Thanks, I know how to do the rest. What? Already get it? Everyone grew even more confused. You get it already? Little Mew, do you really get it? You nodded. Taking the paper back from Lu Ruyan felt like hearing two people speak in code. You quickly recalculated the two questions and, matching the answers, finally breathed a sigh of relief. Your phone just received a message, this time from the group chat. At Shen Jinjian. At Xiao Mu is Mu Ge picture. Xiao Muzi is Mu Ge Shen Yumo? No response. Sorry, I tried my best. Pretty skilled, huh? I asked Big Bro about this question. So Jinjian, not bad, this question shows skill, your school is okay. Someone agree, otherwise that person's physics wouldn't be only 70. Mu Ge, shut up. I didn't even tell you, how do you know? YYMO, you sent me the wrong question, use your brain and you can calculate it. So Jinjian, any plans for National Day? At Mu Ge. Mu Ge, sure thing. I'm the best at planning fun trips in the family, long trips are basically my call. After all, as the family's only little prince, I have to be spoiled. Put the phone away, wipe the smile off your face. When you looked up, you saw him with a shameless, pitiful face staring at you. Xiaomo, please, I don't dare ask Yanji anymore, you're the only one who can now. What a character. You glanced around the class and found everyone quietly turning their heads to look at you too. Xiaomu, just go up and teach us, it's self-study period anyway, and you're the study monitor. You looked around, everyone was nodding like little chicks pecking at rice, looking at you. After a moment's thought, you decided to be a good guy through and through, stood up with 3 test papers and walked to the podium. I'll help analyze these for everyone. If I get anything wrong, feel free to point it out. We don't have much time, so let's start with the relatively simple biology. I'll highlight a few key points. Memorize the experimental procedures and formulas apart from calculation problems. The rest of the points are in the book, you can flip through it. If you can't find something, I'll list the problems and corresponding page numbers after class. Then chemistry, and finally the hardest, physics. Lu Ruyan listened to that crisp, pleasant voice from the stage and couldn't take her eyes off him. That handsome face, damn, she muttered under her breath. The bell rang for the end of class just as you finished the last physics problem. If anyone has questions, we can discuss after class or you can ask me. After speaking you returned to your seat. Teacher, I don't understand this problem. You had just taken a sip of water when the voice beside you nearly made you choke. Was Lu Ruyan crazy? You leaned over and saw it was an English test paper. How was she expecting you to respond? Lu Ruyan pursed her thin lips. How about this, you teach me Chinese and English, I'll teach you math and physics, we complement each other. And I'll bring you a bottle of milk every morning. Kiddo? Who's the kid? Why should I have to listen to you? What, no guts? Mr. Mew must be worried I'll catch up in Chinese and English and overtake you, right? Don't know who said that saying you can ask him if you don't understand, then going back on your word, that's petty behavior. What, bad at Chinese? That provocation was smooth. Of course you fell for it, the more she provoked you, the more you bristled. Who's scared? Deal. From then on, the whole class saw Lu Ruyan put a bottle of pure milk on your desk every morning without fail. The two of you spent every day together studying problems. He even started cramming Chinese and English test papers and memorizing vocabulary. Yanji, are you serious about this? Shameless still looked utterly incredulous these days. Lu Ruyan didn't even look up. If not, should I put on a show for you? At the same time, the school forum exploded. Every post was gossip about you and Lu Ruyan. Lu Ruyan brings Mu Ge milk every day and has started studying seriously. The two are stuck together every day discussing problems. He's not late or leaving early lately, he's definitely in love. A warrior charging for love. Puft, must be fake. I'm in class 1, Yanji really is paying a lot of attention to Mu Ge, and the milk thing is real. To be fair, I think they make a cute couple. Couple my ass. Hooked up so fast? That Mu Ge is such a player. Don't spread lies. Wu Meng from class 2 goes home with Mu Ge every day too. Doesn't that mean he's two-timing? Everyone said something, some of it was downright obscene. Mu Ge, someone's looking for you from the next class. A voice called from the doorway. You put down your pen and walked out, and saw that familiar face. With a crisp slap, you didn't even have time to react before a solid hand struck your cheek, leaving a large red mark on your fair skin. The noisy corridor went instantly quiet, all eyes focused on you. Jisai glared at you triumphantly, waiting for you to cry and beg for mercy. But the next second there were 2 quick slap sounds, and nobody could clearly see what had happened. Mu Ge, how dare you hit me? Jisai screamed, ready to, but a figure stepped in front of you. Are you sick? If your brain doesn't work, don't come out and embarrass yourself. Lu Ruyan's face had gone as dark as ink. Jisai's eyes filled with tears instantly. Lu Ruyan, you saw it too, he started it. You rolled your eyes dramatically behind him, thinking his acting was amazing. Tears on cue. Didn't you fucking start the fight? If you're stupid, read more books. Don't even bother looking in a mirror before you pee. If you were a woman I'd have beat you up already. With a stifled snort, in the dead silent hallway you were the only one behind Lu Ruyan who couldn't help laughing. Lu Ruyan narrowed his eyes. You can still laugh? Looks like all those days I studied Chinese weren't wasted. You're good at insults, quick and sharp. Not bad. Half your cheek flushed red, and your eyes curved like crescent moons when you smiled. Still laughing? I'll take you to the infirmary. Before you could react, your wrist was grabbed and he pulled you out in front of everyone. His long hand held your wrist, the touch was cool. Lu Ruyan, don't talk, walk faster, what are you dawdling for? If you're later your face will be ruined. Ruined? Not that bad. You quicken your pace as Lu Ruyan dragged you to the infirmary. You can let go now, right? Only then did he release you. His palm seemed to have retained the warmth of your wrist. Teacher, look at his face. Any ice? We need to ice it immediately. Should we call 120? You couldn't help rolling your eyes. The infirmary teacher saw the red mark on your face and winced sympathetically. Oh my, such a handsome face, who could hit so hard? I'll get an ice pack for you. Xiao Ge. Xiao Ge. No one else would call you that but Wu Mengmeng. The next second he burst into the infirmary doorway. At the sight of your face his expression changed and he rushed in. I just went to the bathroom for a moment. How did this happen? He checked you and found you had no other injuries besides your face. Damn, that Jisai bastard hit that hard. If his aunt finds out she'll come straight over and kill him. Then my life won't be safe and you'll have to transfer. Transfer where? You jinx, I didn't lose out. I slapped him back twice. Then Wu Mengmeng swept in like the wind, his chest heaving. Without saying a word he grabbed your hand, his anxious look scanned you head to toe. Oof. Wu Mengmeng, your grip is way too strong. His grab made you gasp, a frown knotting your brow instantly. You irritably opened your left hand, a glaring scratch lay across your palm. I didn't expect. Lu Ruyan suddenly clamped down on your left wrist with irresistible force. His voice carried a chill. Why didn't you say earlier? Forgot, or did you get stupid from the fall? Teacher. Teacher. My brother's hand is injured too. Wu Mengmeng cried out again upon seeing this. The teacher then strolled over slowly. He lazily glanced at your palm and said lightly, just a scrape, disinfect it and it'll be fine. Luckily it's not as bad as a knee injury, take care and there's no need to bandage. Wu Mengmeng leaned in and whispered in your ear, it was Zhuang Bigan. He'd just arrived and heard someone say it seemed Zhuang Bigan had pushed accidentally. Whether it was deliberate no one had thought deeply about. You pressed your lips tight and stayed silent. In truth you hadn't seen clearly, somebody shoved you from behind with great force. The room fell utterly silent. At that moment, Lu Ruyan's phone buzzed, she glanced at the screen, and her dark eyes went instantly cold. I'm going out for a bit. This made Wu Mengmeng frown involuntarily. No sooner had Lu Ruyan left than Wu Mengmeng fixed her gaze on you, staring for a full 30 seconds. You, of course, glared right back without backing down. He clicked his tongue twice, leaned in with a gossiping look and said, my dear brother, don't tell me that Lu Ruyan actually fancies you. You snorted immediately. What a joke. He should count himself lucky if she even likes your tail. You rolled your eyes. I'd be grateful if that mouth of his would just stop bothering me. Likes me, please, just shut up already. In your head you ranted about his terrible string of flings. Have I not seen enough? A Jisai, a Zhuangbai who knows how many more of the same type. Meanwhile, the moment Lu Ruyan left the infirmary, she headed straight for a corner of the school garden. Little Cutie and Heartless were already waiting there. Sister Yan, we brought the person. Lu Ruyan didn't say a word. That cold look swept over the boy in front of her like a blade. Did you do it? The boy named Zhuangbai trembled all over and hurriedly waved his hands. I really wasn't careful. I was horsing around with them, lost my footing and fell forward. I'm truly sorry. As soon as Zhuangbai heard Lu Ruyan was looking for him, his heart sank halfway. Once they reached this place, the tears started streaming down even more. Seeing Lu Ruyan remain silent, he cried even harder. Lu Ruyan, I really didn't do it on purpose, I swear. Through his blurry tears he stole a glance at her, only to meet those lazy, mocking eyes. Want to see the surveillance? That question completely threw him off. Zhuangbai knew clearly in his heart that if Lu Ruyan could get the surveillance footage, it probably meant she had already watched it. He had assumed Lu Ruyan would not meddle after all, nobody had seen it. If he just stuck to his denial, there would be no problem. Unexpectedly, his thoughts flipped, and her tears began to pour even more. I'm sorry, please don't tell the teachers, don't tell anyone else. I'll agree to any condition. I didn't expect you to be so vicious. Truly a heart of a viper, ugly in every way, Heartless said bluntly. Little Cutie also offered a few gentle words of counsel, and now Zhuangbai had completely offended this group. I really did wrong, I'm sorry. Lu Ruyan's face remained cold, utterly unmoved. Don't come to me with apologies, go to Mu Ge. Before leaving she added, if you don't receive his forgiveness, bear the consequences yourself. Zhuangbai watched the three of them walk away and curled up in despair, regretting it with every fiber of his being. He could never have imagined that Lu Ruyan would stand up for Mu Ge. Later, when Lu Ruyan returned to the infirmary, she found it empty, because you had already gone back to class. When she saw you smiling calmly in your seat, the furrow in her brow finally eased a little. You lowered your voice to warn Wu Mengmeng, I'm warning you, if you dare tell my sister, they'll twist your head off. Wu Mengmeng, bored staying in class, simply dragged over a chair and sat in the aisle between you and Du Zitong. No need to twist it, they already twisted it long ago. Mu Ge, you have a sister? Is she your biological sister? I'm so jealous, you're so handsome, your sister must be a beauty too, right? Du Zitong watched you cousins bicker and laughed. You immediately replied, of course she's biological, only a blood sister can have that level of looks. As for cousins, look at me and you'll know. Wu Mengmeng pointed to her own face, defiant. With this face of mine, I must be top 3 in the grade, right? You waved your hand, saying it to me is useless. Go tell my sister, only if they approve will it count. There was no helping it, you had been surrounded by beauty since childhood, and as a seasoned appearance lover, your standards had long since been spoiled. Whenever Wu Mengmeng thought of your 2 older sisters he instantly caved. He dared not show any spirit in front of the eldest, and the second sister, who was obviously younger than him, always had the upper hand. Forget it, keep those 2 big shots of yours away to cause trouble for someone else, I can't afford to mess with them. Mu Ge, you have 2 older sisters. My Lion Xin had only just come up and heard that. You nodded, one eldest sister, and the other is my Dragon and Phoenix twin sister. Dragon and Phoenix twin? Du Zitong and my Lion Xin's mouths dropped into O's, faces full of disbelief. Then why didn't your Dragon and Phoenix sister come to school in Baikan? Wu Mengmeng answered, for you, she's doing perfectly fine at the international elite school, why would she come here? Unlike some people who don't know their own worth and insist on running over. International elite school, those words carried so much information that Du Zitong and my Lion Xin couldn't close their mouths. Mingcheng International Elite School, famous nationwide, people fight tooth and nail to get in. I heard the students there not only come from impressive families, but each one is a top scholar. You gave up a place like that to come here. My Lion Xin looked incredulous, even rubbing his eyes, unable to believe the great one in front of him was only 16. Seeing my Lion Xin's shocked expression, you couldn't help laughing. It's not that exaggerated, it's just that the pace over there is too fast and everyone is a genius. I wasn't enjoying myself. What about your girlfriend? Is she at that school too? How did the conversation get so off track? You were genuinely baffled when did a girlfriend materialize out of nowhere? As you were about to explain, Wu Mengmeng suddenly stood up and a barrage of questions hit you. Little bro, you're dating someone and didn't tell us? How could you hide it? Since when? Who is she? Do I know her? Your voice shot up 8 octaves. Stop. All of you shut up, you're hurting my ears. Wu Mengmeng sulked back into his seat, striking a posture of eager listening. You asked my Lion Xin irritably, when did you see me with a girlfriend? How would I not know? My Lion Xin scratched his head. Wasn't the person who came to pick you up on the first day of school your partner? He even had his arm around your shoulder. That made you burst out laughing. What are you laughing at? My Lion Xin looked puzzled. You deliberately emphasized biological sister and Dragon and Phoenix twin, afraid he wouldn't get it. That was my real sister. The Dragon and Phoenix sister is my real sister. Oh, that's it. My Lion Xin laughed meaningfully, then turned to Wu Mengmeng. To be fair, you really can't compare to his real sister, nowhere near. Wu Mengmeng instantly bristled. Skinny, shut your mouth. La la la, so what if I'm calling you skinny? Not allowed to speak the truth? My Lion Xin was a bit annoyed by the insult and immediately went into combat mode. No sooner had he spoken than he took off running, and Wu Mengmeng chased after him. Beside them, Lu Ruyan barely suppressed a smile, managing not to let the corners of his mouth show. He thought to himself, so the person really is his biological sister. You, bored, scrolled through Weibo and discovered your direct messages were nearly exploding. Xiaomu, is that the sign-holding handsome guy from BYU? So handsome. Say it quick, is that you? Wah, Xiaomu, please reply, the guy is incredible. You took a deep breath and typed back, hello everyone, I'm Mu Ge. Since your identity was exposed, you stopped hiding and simply posted the photos Du Zitong took today, setting one as pinned. The comment section instantly erupted. Finally seeing the real one. Xiaomu is too handsome, I'm following in a second. The guy is just stunning. Mu Ge is a nice name too. Wah, my husband is the handsomest, no arguing. Hey upstairs, stop. What do you mean my husband? He's obviously ours. That husband comment drew an extra glance from you. It came from a new account called Nianze's Baby, with an empty profile. You couldn't help but smile. Fans these days really know how to play with memes. No wonder your dad turned green in the face when your mom's female fans called him husband. Just then, Zhuangbai suddenly blocked your way, his lips almost bitten through. Mu Ge, I'm sorry, I was wrong, can you forgive me? You didn't even bother to lift an eyelid, merely cast a cold glance at him with no response. Tears hung at the corners of his eyes, his face glistening. Anyone watching might think you had hurt him. Why did you do this? His voice quivered with sobs. I just couldn't stand how dazzling you are. Everything should have been mine, but you stole the spotlight. I'm really sorry, I was confused at the time, I'm truly sorry. As Zhuangbai spoke he wiped his eyes, but the more he wiped the more the tears came, they couldn't be stopped. Classmates seeing him cry so miserably hurriedly handed him tissues and urged reconciliation. Mu Ge, he didn't mean it, he's apologized. Yeah, let's just let it go. You thought to yourself, isn't this moral blackmail? It's so hard to be a good person these days. A flicker passed through your eyes, but your tone was flat and unruffled as you coldly uttered 4 words, don't let it happen again. Mu Ge, as long as you're okay. Homeroom teacher Ai Chu arrived in a rush after receiving the news. Seeing the tense scene, his expression finally softened a bit. You answered calmly, I'm fine, it's just that he can't participate in tomorrow's competition. Ai Chu's gaze fell on the bandage around your knee, filled with concern. He immediately motioned for you to sit down quickly. Competitions aren't as important as your health. We can have another classmate fill in. Zhuangbai, who had just stopped crying, began to sob again. Teacher, let me go, this was my fault after all. Ai Chu looked from him to you and understood most of what had happened, then nodded in agreement. Alright, it's the participation that counts, scores aren't important. The next day, you arrived at school just after 9, a fine rain was falling over North City and the field competition was already underway. Mu Ge, just as you stepped onto the second floor stairs, a voice came from behind. You turned and saw that familiar, irritating face again. Apparently those 2 slaps hadn't taught him much. New GE, living the good life, huh? Jisai strutted over arrogantly, his eyes full of provocation. You instinctively tightened your grip on your phone and quickly pressed the emergency call button. After all, 4 sleazy-looking girls trailed behind Jisai, the one leering at you. So this is your bro? Bringing him back for the girls to have fun wouldn't be a loss. Your eyes narrowed slightly, a hint of danger flashing in them. Want to take me away? That depends on whether you lot have the ability. Big talk. This bro looks spicy. I like him. 2 girls jeered as they rushed forward but were stopped by Jisai. Hold him down first, slap him a few times. Once I'm satisfied, you can do whatever you want. I won't go back on my word. The 2 girls immediately showed lascivious smiles and rubbed their hands together as they approached. Little brother, hold on, sister will take you over the line soon. Only an idiot would stand there and let you touch him. You spun neatly, delivered a side kick, and knocked one of them out cold. As the other lunged, you countered with a heavy punch to his face. Your leg was injured, but your fist was still strong. You motherfucker. Everyone on him. 2 of Jisai's buddies lunged to give you a lesson, but as one lifted his foot, you kicked him in the face, sending him and the others behind him sprawling. Jisai's face twisted with rage, he cursed loser and tried to grab your hair. His hand hadn't reached your hair before you twisted his wrist, yanked hard, and sent him crashing to the ground in a humiliating tumble. Holy crap. Heartless had just rushed up and saw the scene, his eyes bulging, thinking they'd come to pick up a corpse this time. Watch out. The girl leading the group scrambled up and lunged at you. At the critical moment, a figure suddenly blocked in front of you. Lu Ruyan let out a muffled groan. The girl whose punch had landed on Lu Ruyan was frozen on the spot, her hands suspended in midair, caught between pulling back and following through, stammering, Sister Yan. Who gave you permission to hit someone? Lu Ruyan grabbed the person's collar, lifted her gently with one arm, his gaze so dark it seemed to drip. The girl's legs went weak, she realized Lu Ruyan was truly angry. No, my name is Lu Yang. Jisai asked me to do it. He said if I took care of Mu Ge, he'd agree to be my boyfriend, so I brought my girlfriends. Sister Yan, we were just used as his pawns, please spare us, we won't do it again. The leader clasped her hands together, practically ready to kneel and beg, terrified this was the Lu family, even the king himself couldn't protect you here. Get out. Lu Ruyan let go, and the girl scurried away with the other 3, tail between their legs. You finally relaxed and hurriedly asked, Lu Ruyan, are you okay? Jisai's face was downcast, his right shoulder was dislocated and he writhed on the ground in pain. Lu Ruyan saw your complexion was fine but his brow stayed tightly knit and the anger in his eyes hadn't faded. He suddenly shouted at you, you're a boy, fighting so many girls, what if they had weapons on them? Mu Ge, are you trying to get yourself killed? You were stunned. Why was he yelling at you all of a sudden? So fierce for what? You mumbled in defense, don't worry, they weren't a match for me. Seeing your nonchalant attitude, Lu Ruyan, oblivious to the seriousness of the situation, grew angrier. Just as he was about to speak, Wu Mengmeng hurriedly interjected, Sister Yan, she's trained in judo and taekwondo, her skills are really impressive. Last time she put someone in the hospital for a month. Wu Mengmeng shook her head to signal Heartless not to add fuel to the fire. Everyone knew the consequences of making Lu Ruyan angry, and only you, the descendant, dared to go head-on with him. What about Jisai? Heartless glanced at the man on the ground. Little Cutie came over and said, give me your phone, I've already called 120. The ambulance arrived quickly and took Jisai to the hospital. The rain outside fell harder and harder, the sports meet had to be suspended and everyone returned to class to study. The school announced that specific arrangements would be notified later. People filed back into the classroom. The moment you stepped in, the room went utterly silent. News of Jisai had probably spread everywhere, and all eyes landed squarely on you. Lu Ruyan came in a bit later, soaked with rain and faintly smelling of tobacco. You knitted your brow and were about to speak when you noticed his sullen face. His anger clearly hadn't cooled. You took out your phone and messaged, are you mad? Don't be, I didn't do it on purpose. He replied instantly, noted, won't happen again. You sent another, Lu Ruyan? The phone in Lu Ruyan's pocket buzzed. Irritated, he pulled it out, glanced at the screen, then at you, and casually tossed the phone onto the desk, looking like he couldn't care less. You sent one more, can we break up? Lu Ruyan stared hard at that message, but his gaze landed on you. Break up. Seeing no reaction from you, Lu Ruyan propped himself on the desk with one hand and stepped closer, his voice low, Teacher Mu, tell me how exactly do you plan to break up? You stayed silent. A smile tugged at Lu Ruyan's mouth as he drawled lazily, break up means not talking? Are you in elementary school? Inside, you screamed, Lu Ruyan, shut up, I really will break up with you. Your lips pressed into a tight line, your pale face flushing red. Lu Ruyan's brows and eyes were deep. After a moment's thought, he reached out and handed over a milk candy, his voice softening, here, let me soothe you. You thought you must have misheard, eyes widening as you instinctively scanned the surroundings. Luckily everyone was busy with their own things. Soothe you? Lu Ruyan really knows how to stir things up. You met his gaze and froze. That look made your nose sting a little. You couldn't help it and blinked, tears welled in your eyes. Lu Ruyan met your eyes and teased softly, what, moved to tears? Moved my foot. You were purely angry, he had ruined the whole good atmosphere. You frowned, about to clap back, when homeroom teacher Ai Chu suddenly called from the back door, Mu Ge, come to the office. You pressed your lips together, thinking, what has to come will come, you can't dodge it. Just as you were getting up, your wrist was seized by a warm, large hand, the heat made your heart flutter. I'll go with you. You looked at him quietly, bit your lip lightly, and shook your head, no need, the teacher only called me. You signaled Lu Ruyan to let go. Quite a few eyes in the classroom were watching you both. Lu Ruyan glanced around, those gazes immediately withdrew as if shocked, and only then did he release your hand. Yan Ji, what will teacher Ai do about this? Will it be a big problem? Jisai's parents aren't easy to deal with. Du Zitong was sweating on your behalf. Lu Ruyan's expression darkened as he followed out of the classroom. Du Ziton, full of question marks, asked, "What's his deal?" Heartless but straightforward as always, probably too annoyed, he slipped out to get snacks. You stood in the office with your head down, thinking since Jisai's parents wanted to make a fuss, you'd see it through. After all, he picked the fight first. Your uncle and the others weren't in the country, and you didn't know who the teacher had informed. No one at home had come yet. You muttered to yourself, surely they don't really think I'm unguarded. Jisai's mother opened her mouth with a snide tone, full of contempt. His father snorted coldly, looking at you like a stray child. You were about to retort when a cold voice came from the doorway, "Stray child?" Everyone's eyes turned in unison to the door as a woman in a black trench coat stepped in holding an umbrella. Her obsidian-like eyes were sharp and bright, a calmness masking an unmistakable fierceness. Her striking features and beautiful face gave her an imposing presence instantly. "Sis, you were overjoyed. How could it be the eldest sister?" You hurried over. Nuyukin's expression softened, she ruffled your hair and asked softly, "Are you hurt?" You shook your head, your little face puffed up, full of grievance. Nuyukin's expression instantly turned cold, she looked up, glanced over the teacher and the two parents, and casually chose a seat, radiating big-shot energy. Ai Chu, seeing Nuyukin, knew this person had a lot of backing. "You are Mu Ge's eldest sister." Nuyukin did not deny it, she just stared coldly at Jisai's parents. "Speak. What do you want?" Jisai's parents were so overwhelmed by her presence they couldn't speak for a long time. Jisai's father finally couldn't hold back. He accused you of dislocating his son and causing scratches, saying boys can be rough and their son had been pampered since childhood. What about his face scars? They demanded an explanation. "Exactly, such a young age and already so vicious. Last time she even slapped my son. She must be jealous because Jisai's grades are good and he's handsome." Jisai's mother promptly chimed in. You almost rolled your eyes on the spot. Talk about the villain accusing first. Ai Chu was a little embarrassed too. After all, this was the start of term exam, and you had left the second place dozens of points behind as the grade top scorer, the only one with 600 plus. Nuyukin glanced back at you and said lightly, "They went a bit easy last time. That person was in the hospital for a month. Your real sister really does understand you best," and you smirked inwardly. You might not have the spoiledness of a young master, but you know your limits. She knows judo and taekwondo. As long as you don't provoke her, she will never strike first. Your sister's words nearly made you laugh. After all, boys have to think about their lifelong happiness. You can't always use brute force. What kind of family values are these? Truly ill-bred. Jisai's father was left speechless by you two sisters. With a slap, Nuyukin slammed the table and rose, a chill radiating from her that silenced the others instantly. She continued, "Family values? Your son organized people to beat my brother. That's your family values? And now you turn around to blame a 16-year-old boy. What sort of robber logic is this? Shall we call the police?" Her eyes were ice cold as she pulled a checkbook from her bosom and slapped a check onto the table. "Isn't this all about money? It's all here. Call it medical fees. You should go to the hospital and check your heads first." The check landed with a smack in front of Jisai's parents. When they looked, it was 500,000. Such generosity stunned them into silence. They had planned to intimidate you, but instead were intimidated. Previously Jisai had complained about how annoying you were, yet she casually tossed out 500,000. Clearly not an ordinary family. Seeing this, Ai Chu thought the matter was settled, so no objections now, right? Jisai's parents, is this acceptable? Jisai's parents were still staring at the check, completely thrown off. They had meant to give a warning but were the one shocked. With that side seemingly settled, it was time for your sister to settle accounts. Nuyukin sat back down, and under everyone's curious gaze she spoke evenly. "My brother's psychological distress, and the damage to his reputation from those recent school rumors about serious injury." As she spoke she drew you to her side. "Let me see your hand." You panicked inwardly. The scrapes on your hand hadn't healed, and your knee was still bandaged. Unable to resist your older sister's stare, you obediently opened your hand. Your palm was torn and bruised. Nuyukin took it all in, her eyes cooling several degrees. She looked coldly at Zhuangbai's parents. "My brother has insurance on every part of his body down to a strand of hair. Psychological damages, reputational damages, and this hand injury, and his knee is worse. If you don't believe it, go to the hospital to have the injuries assessed. The examination fees will be on you too. I estimate about 2 million. Jisai's parents couldn't sit still. Wasn't this an obvious exorbitant demand? Nuyukin's expression was ruthless. Who is actually bullying whom? Weren't you the ones who came to cause trouble first? She stood to make her stance clear. Mu Ge is the apple of our family's eye. He has never suffered an injustice since childhood. Since you dared lay hands on him, we'll see this through. After Nuyukin finished speaking, she looked at you. Pack up and go home. You nodded repeatedly, hurried to get a leave note signed by the homeroom teacher, and went home early for the National Day holiday. Someone heartlessly asked, "Are you all right? Go back first." You smiled and replied, "I'm off." When you left, the whole class cast envious glances at you. Your sister was waiting at the office door. You immediately ran up and hooked your arm through hers, whining, "Why are you the one who came? Where are mom and dad?" Nuyukin looked at you, both helpless and pained. You really had made the Mu family proud, protected since childhood, never allowed a scratch, yet somehow these messy troubles always found you. You even pouted on purpose. "Sis, don't be mad, I really missed you." Nuyukin couldn't help but pinch your nose. "This time you'd better accept a proper re-education. Mom and dad are waiting at home. I won't be able to protect you from every bruise. You deal with it yourself." Before the words had finished, a familiar voice came from the stairwell. Lu Ruyan looked up, glanced at you and your sister, and waved to him. "Lu Ruyan, thanks for today. When I get back I'll treat you to a meal." Lu Ruyan paused for a moment, then nodded and turned to leave. The lingering smell of smoke in the air made you wrinkle your nose. You thought you should find a chance to persuade him to quit. Nuyukin looked at Lu Ruyan twice more, then walked on while listening to you chattering non-stop. As soon as you got to the Mew house, Mom inspected you from head to toe. The sports meat injuries had just healed, but your hands and knees had new wounds she worried they'd scar. Seeing your mother's sullen face, you immediately switched to playing cute. Mommy, don't be mad, getting angry makes you age. It was wrong to hide the injuries from you. Your mother looked at you helplessly, sighed, and said, this kid has been the same since he was little. You can explain all this to your dad later. Our poor son was bullied like this. Your father will be furious. He'll probably make you transfer schools tonight. Transfer? You exploded at once and firmly refused. You'd finally made new friends, you weren't leaving. Ningcheng is definitely not transferring. Mom, this was really an accident, and I can handle myself. I didn't expect high schoolers nowadays to be so scheming. I promise I won't do it again. When your mother saw you had changed into casual pants, she couldn't help but smile. Say that to your dad. Let me see the wounds first. You rolled up your pant leg. The large bruise on your knee was shocking. Mom said she would look for great-grandma's old scar removal medicine and fretted about what you'd do if it left a scar. All you could think about was how to persuade dad not to make you transfer. At dinner, Mu Yangquan said nothing. He scolded Mu Yukin into the study with a stern face. From the look of it, they really intended to make you transfer. Mu Beilu, note proper noun left as original, smirked at the half bowl of rice in front of you. You glared at him. This kid loved rubbing salt in the wound. You immediately pouted and looked at your mother with teary eyes. Mom and Mu Beilu exchanged a look and both thought simultaneously, the little drama queen is at it again. Don't cry. If those tears reach your father, let's see how you'll act then. Mu Beilu had always vied for attention with you, so angry, you clamped your tears back. In the study, Dad asked what had happened. Mu Yukin briefly reported the situation. Mu Yangquan actually didn't want you to transfer either. He understood you best. You take after your mother. You had asked to come to Baikan in the first place, and now that you were wronged, what parent wouldn't step in? Still, he decided to wait for you to come to him yourself. You go see him first. Mu Yukin came out holding some files, and as soon as she opened the door you tugged her into the next room. You grabbed your sister's wrist and blinked your innocent big eyes. So what did Dad say? Mu Yukin didn't need to be asked to know what you were thinking. She patted your head and said only 4 words, make it on your own. Oh my, your own sister said that. Your mouth twitched and your displeasure was written all over your face. Mu Yukin didn't comfort you. Instead she smirked. Dad's waiting for you to come to him. Let's see if you can persuade him. Sure enough, your little act tears stopped as quickly as they started, and you pushed your elder sister out of the room. From behind the door you called, sis, thanks, love you. Mu Yukin looked at the closed door and smiled helplessly yet indulgently. The next day, Mu Yulu sleepily went downstairs and casually caught sight of a figure. He rubbed his eyes, thinking he must have been mistaken, convinced he wasn't fully awake. He rubbed his eyes again and glanced at the living room clock. Did the sun actually rise in the west? That person turned out to be you. Mu Ge. He sat at the dining table in shock and poured a cup of warm water. Mu Yukin then put down her book to confirm he wasn't imagining things. Mu Yulu was still bewildered and turned into the kitchen. Are you sure you're not sleepwalking? He casually picked up a yushao. This is the taste, the most popular breakfast shop in Ningcheng. You have to queue for ages to get it. You reached out and tapped the yushao from Mu Yulu's hand. Don't snatch that, it's for mom and dad and sister, none for you. You plated the last fried egg and carried it out, placing it in front of your dad and sister. Mom smiled and took her portion as well. You looked at Mu Yangquan with hopeful eyes. Dad, try my cooking. Mu Yangquan took off his glasses, put down the newspaper, and took a bite. Not bad. You pushed the yushao and soup buns toward Mu Yangquan, and these I got up early to queue for them. Mu Yangquan didn't rush to eat. He gently tapped your nose. So you really don't want to transfer schools? You nodded repeatedly. Yes, I really don't. Dad, I used to skip grades a lot and didn't have many friends. Now that I've finally made a few friends in Baikan, I don't want it to end right away. Let me properly experience 2 years of high school life. I promise I won't cause trouble anymore. Punish me however you like if I do. Mu Yangquan had discussed it with Mom last night. Since their son wanted it, they would let him go. Kids grow up. They need to learn independence. I already told your mom last night. We'll go with your decision. Will you dare to pull a stunt like this again? Mom asked with a smile. You quickly untied your apron, leaned over and kissed Mom. Thanks Mom and Dad. Kissing Mom is like kissing Dad. You two eat slowly. I'm going back to catch up on sleep. You yawned as you went upstairs, so sleepy. Mom laughed. Ha ha ha. The sun rising in the west. Our baby getting up early is a miracle. Good for him. Mu Yulu sat at the dining table dejectedly. These elders, they didn't leave me any. Mom pointed toward the kitchen. There are crab roast soup buns in the pot. Your younger brother specially saved them for you. Mu Yulu immediately sprang up from his chair, lifted the steamer lid, and found a full basket of soup buns. Finally, the little drama queen still had some conscience. His doting wasn't wasted. He happily started to eat. You woke up from a sleep to find it was almost 1 p.m. You groggily checked your phone. Mumu, I heard your sister returned to Ningcheng? You replied, she arrived yesterday. Mumu said again, want to go out this afternoon and maybe dye your hair. That's when you remembered tomorrow is the first day of the National Day holiday. A few of your sisters don't board at school, so they're all home. You replied, Mumu Ge, I still have class this afternoon. I can't sneak home early like you. The other party replied instantly, then I'll pick you up after school this afternoon. You laughed out loud at the message. Oh my, a handsome guy personally picking me up. I'm flattered. Xiao Mu is Mu Ge, stop joking, hurry and get ready to receive your escort. Want anything to drink? I'll bring it. Mumu, the usual. Xiao Mu is Mu Ge, okay. You get up, quickly wash your face, and leisurely head downstairs to grab something to eat. Mom is sunk into the sofa, calmly scrolling her tablet. She's recently moved into behind-the-scenes work and become a producer. When she sees you coming down, she closes the tablet. She looks up and signals with her eyes what you want to eat. You wander into the kitchen. Why don't you just lie back on the sofa? I'll make myself a simple salad, that'll do. All right. You turn into the kitchen, chop some vegetables and tomatoes, and blanch some bright green broccoli. You set this simple lunch on the table, sit down, and plan to eat while scrolling your phone, enjoying some slack time. The official North City North Campus account has announced that the 21st sports meet has successfully concluded. You flip through the event photos to see what the atmosphere at your school was like. Senior Mew really carried this time, effortlessly resetting the school's men's high jump record. It's a pity he got accidentally injured afterward and couldn't compete in the 400m, and I heard his injury might have been caused by someone. Just then, the small backstage group chat pings. Heartless pops in, Mew GE won an award today, you weren't there, Sister Yan went up to accept it for you, what a spectacle. You mumble to yourself, what kind of weird group chat is this? Curious, you open the member list and glance over, Du Zitan, Heartless, Lu Ruyan, Little Cutie, Wu Mengmeng are all there. Lu Ruyan's message is terse, incidentally. You reply with a retort, well thanks a lot for your incidentally. Heartless asks if everyone wants to meet up over National Day. Wu Mengmeng replies instantly with one word, no. Heartless immediately snaps at her, didn't ask you, can you mute yourself? Lu Ruyan tags your account directly. You answer, I might go to North City tomorrow or the day after. Wu Mengmeng quickly follows, take me with you. You reply, day bro, my sister might go too, I'm not really sure. Little Cutie egged them on, then we must stage a coincidence and enjoy the drama. You glance at the chat and stop replying. You quickly shove a few more forkfuls of salad into your stomach. Mom, I'm heading out, I probably won't be back for dinner tonight. Be careful on the road. Your mom's parenting style has always been laissez-faire. You put on a clean, neat pair of white sneakers and, before leaving, grab your treasured camera. You plan to film a vlog during the break. The first step is to get a new hair color. First, you need to buy a milk tea to recharge, then you'll head straight to my alma mater, elite school. Isn't that Mew GE? Haven't seen you in a while. The security uncle's eyes crinkle into a smile when he sees you. You lift the corners of your mouth and reply with a smile in your voice. Uncle, your reputation at elite school is nothing to sneeze at. Compared to North Campus, you've made a bigger splash here. Partly because you're talented yourself, plus your handsome looks and notable family background, not to mention your sisters. Especially your eldest sister, Muyukin, although she graduated 2 or 3 years ago, she's still an immortal legend at elite school, the kind of person underclassmen pass down as a story. Then there's your second sister Mu Lu, a top computer whiz whose looks are also impressive. There are countless guys who want to marry into the family to be your brother-in-law. Even the kids from your godparents' family are outstanding, and all these people are connected to you. The uncle sighs, I mean, you could have had it so good staying here, why did you have to go all the way to North City to study? When I first heard that, I felt sorry for you for several days. You curl a playful smirk at the corner of your mouth, think of it as going to experience a different life. The uncle has always been the most fond of you, he said as he deftly opened the school gate for you, hurry inside, their class won't get out for a little while. Can I go in first and find a place to wait for them? Oh, and 3 milk tea deliveries are due soon, please remember to sign for them for me. Uncle, one of those milk teas has a reward for you. And the cup in your hand isn't included, that one is for your buddy Ma Zuri. You made your way to the grade 2 classroom door like you knew the routine, peeking around, the classroom was quiet, so it seemed they hadn't been dismissed yet. You leaned against the doorframe and started scrolling your phone. Little brother. Hearing that familiar call, you jerked your head up. Sis, what are you doing here? Shower Gel waved the form in his hand and explained, we need to use the lab after school this afternoon, so I came to get a material approved. His gaze fell on you, here to wait for Ma Zuri? You nodded, yeah, we made plans to hang out later. A flicker of worry passed through Shower Gel's eyes as he advised, don't stay out too late, come home early. You obediently nodded, got it. Oh, sis, I left your milk tea at the security office, go pick it up when you're free. He gave a soft and said he'd noted it. No sooner had you finished speaking than the dismissal bell echoed down the hall. To avoid unnecessary commotion, Shower Gel signaled with his eyes that he had to leave first. He was in the elite class in grade 2, in a classroom in a different teaching building that was relatively secluded, which had shielded him from a lot of unwanted attention. If he appeared in the main teaching building, he'd almost certainly be mobbed by a crowd of adoring fans. No sooner had Shower Gel disappeared around the corridor corner than Ma Zuri's class let out. Little bro. Ma Zuri had already packed his bag and burst out of the classroom first, hooking his arm around your shoulder and clamoring to see how you've been. He inspected you from head to toe, then nodded in satisfaction, looking good. Don't worry, your milk tea is here. I already booked Tony the hairstylist to dye our hair, we'll head straight to the shop. Inside the barber shop. What new color are you thinking of trying today? The stylist was an old acquaintance you've known for years. You glance down at the reference picture on your phone and then at the color swatches in front of you, just a dark tea brown overall, keep it low key. Alright, take a seat. I obediently sat in the chair and set up the camera in front, ready to record some footage. Little bro, are there a lot of beauties over at BY? Ma Zuri sat beside you for company and had the assistant tidy his hair at the same time. Beauties? Your thumb paused mid-scroll on Duyan as you thought for a moment, my deskmate's barely passable as a beauty, I guess. You added casually that, honestly, in a place like BY, Lu Ruyan's looks would rank at the top anywhere. After all, you two had grown up watching the gods fight, so your standards for beauty had long since become ridiculously high. Ma Zuri took a big gulp of milk tea. Lu Ruyan's face is definitely flawless, but there really aren't as many beauties at BY as at our school, it's not even the same league. Think about the kind of people gathered at our school, just recall a bit and you'll understand. Indeed, they were a bunch of top-tier competitors in IQ, EQ, looks, and family background. By the way, are we going to Polar Island tomorrow or the day after? Ma Zuri swiped his phone to check the weather forecast. Tomorrow. The day after tomorrow looks like rain, not good for going out. The forecast for tomorrow and the next day says the weather will be nice, perfect for going out. If Polar Island catches a gloomy rainy day, that would be such a downer. You tapped your phone and decisively bought 2 high-speed train tickets to Polar Island, and also booked a seaside homestay near Polar Island with Mazuri. After getting your hair done, the two of you went and stuffed yourselves at a big meal. By the time you wandered back home, it was almost 10. You quietly took off your shoes and were about to sneak upstairs to your room when a familiar voice sounded behind you. Oh, getting back by 10 counts as early. Your heart skipped and you were startled into a jolt. You whipped around to see Shower Gel lounging lazily on the sofa. He was sitting cross-legged with a laptop on his knees, his long fingers clattering on the keyboard. You're up so late and you don't go sleep in your room? Sitting in the living room playing spooky games to scare people? Shower Gel's voice had a teasing tone. You're the ghost. I'm heading to my room now, aren't I? You never expected to hear anything nice from your own sister. By the way, Raj and I are going to Polar Island tomorrow, are you coming? Shower Gel paused mid-typing and closed his laptop. He stood, hesitated for a moment, then said, you two go have fun tomorrow. I happen to have a computer research competition to attend. After the National Day holiday, we'll go out together as a family and have a proper trip. Dad and eldest sister have been pretty busy these days anyway. Alright then, listen to your sister. Get some rest, good night. You were answered by the soft sound of her closing her door. The next morning you were rudely awakened by an alarm, your head still heavy. You ruffled your short hair a little, closed your eyes and groggily found the bathroom, stumbling through your morning routine. Raj, I'm awake, ready to go. I just woke up too. You entered the walk-in closet and scanned the array of clothes, picked a white shirt, put on light-colored jeans, quickly styled your hair in front of the mirror and slipped on a pair of gold-rimmed glasses. Looking at your neat hairstyle in the mirror and the simple necklace at your throat, you couldn't help but curve your lips. Today was another energetic day. You dragged your small suitcase downstairs. Where are you off to have fun? Mom saw you as soon as she sat down. You helped yourself to a cup of warm water and plopped down beside your eldest sister Muyukin. We're going to Polar Island for a few days, we'll be back soon. We got back too late yesterday so didn't have time to tell you. Muyukin glanced at her phone for the time. I'm actually heading to the airport today and will pass by the train station, so I thought I might as well drop you off. That would be great. It's been a long time since I rode in eldest sister's car. She used to drive you to school often. You picked up a steamed bun and took a bite. Wait, she said she's going to the airport. The list of people she'd go personally pick up could be counted on one hand, right? Something's off. Who is she going to pick up at the airport today? Muyukin wiped the corner of her mouth with a napkin, her gentle voice coming slowly, But that expression, tisk tisk tisk. Still, you couldn't press her for more. If anything big happened at home, they'd tell you in the end. Rige, are you ready? I'm heading out now, I'll wait for you downstairs. Got it, I'm putting my shoes on. My sister said she'll drive us over. Copy, I'm coming downstairs now. You put down your phone and finished the last sip of milk in your cup. Sis, let's go. If we dawdle any longer we'll miss the car. I'm off then, bye, see you in 2 days. Muyukin accompanied you and Mazuri all the way to the high-speed rail station. You two dashed onto the train just in time. You let out a long sigh of relief, unlocked your phone to scroll Weibo for a bit, and found the trending list exploding. The hot search was hashtag by Yuntao returns home hashtag. Curious, you tapped it. Isn't that by Yuntao, the guy your sister's old classmate's younger brother? No mistake, you'd met him a few times before. But the trending news said that recently, the boy group leader by Yuntao had been forced to terminate his contract and return home, and reportedly had to pay a huge penalty for breach of contract. Yo, bro, you're checking out Dao Tao's trending too? You know him? Of course I know him. Mazuri was an unabashed idol obsessive, especially well-versed in K-pop gossip. How could he not be familiar with Mazuri? He'd basically burst onto the scene as a prodigy. With that kind of talent on display, who wouldn't be impressed? Later, when the boy group was set to debut, he was chosen as center and captain. His professional skills were rock solid. But recently he'd been mercilessly attacked by haters in the Korean scene, and then the company terminated his contract at lightning speed, and now he's saddled with a huge payout. Either way, in the idol world his influence was definitely top tier. You were left dumbfounded. Your sister wasn't going to the airport to pick up anyone else but by Yuntao, right? The more you thought about it, the more absurd it seemed. Fine, don't think about it now, I'll ask him properly when I get back. You dozed off a little on the train, and when you opened your eyes the train was nearly at the station. The two of you headed straight into the booked B&B, threw your suitcases on the floor, and went straight to the ferry to wander around the nearby islet. Facing the sea breeze, you felt particularly free. Bro, a familiar voice suddenly barged in, breaking the silence. You turned toward the sound. What the? Did these guys follow us too? Heartless and Wu Mengmeng ran up to you together. What a coincidence, right? Don't start. What did you ask my sister for? Your delicate brows instantly knitted. Seeing your tone was a bit sharp, he immediately cowered. Haven't we not seen our big handsome Ma for a while? Mazuri had just finished taking photos and came in, hearing that exact line as he entered. I mean, girl, are you trying to use me as a shield? Do you think I'm always so easygoing as a brother? Heartless watched Wu Mengmeng get put in her place in front of us and laughed until his stomach cramped. Teacher Mew, it's really been a long time. Lu Ruyan stood behind the two of them, a barely perceptible tremor in her voice. Long time my foot. Wasn't it just yesterday I didn't see you? Mazuri, seeing Lu Ruyan for the first time, excitedly grabbed your arm. She's stunningly beautiful, this kind of fierce, cold beauty. Help me, bro, please introduce us. Lu Ruyan's bright eyes were fixed on you. Before you could open your mouth, he spoke first. I'm this bro's student, and also his deskmate. You're the BY beauty bro was talking about, right? The moment Mazuri heard deskmate he blurted that out, not even giving you a chance to interject. You gave an awkward little cough, your face already flushing bright red. My buddy really says anything out loud. A mischievous smile appeared on Lu Ruyan's delicate face. A BY beauty? Seems teacher Mew thinks highly of me. Bro, you're not wearing much today either. Why's your face so red? Is it too hot? Ma Zuri was genuinely inspecting you head to toe, deciding your outfit today looked cool and comfy. Ma Zuri, please just shut up. In that moment you wanted to throw him into the sea. Your face felt like it was going to sink into the Pacific. Miu's friend really is a big handsome guy too, Heartless suggested. Let's take our two handsome younger brothers and go hang out over there, it'll be a good chance for everyone to meet. Little Cutie stood beside Lu Ruyan and glanced over at you. Lu Ruyan gave you a light smile. Okay, handsome brothers, let's go. Hey, are you trying to kidnap my big handsome ma? Wait for me, Wu Mengmeng said as she hurried after them. The empty deck was suddenly left with only you and Lu Ruyan. Eyes widened at each other. They all left, and you pretended to be unconcerned, lowering your head to play with your phone. A pair of clean shoes suddenly entered your view. You jerked your head up and your forehead bumped right into Lu Ruyan's chin. Oof, you cried in pain, quickly putting your hand to your head. Why did you have to get so close and scare me? Lu Ruyan reached out her slender, long fingers, gently took your hand away, then softly covered it with her own, helping you rub your hair. Did you dye it? Her palm turned yours over. The place where the skin had been scraped was already scabbed over and looked nearly healed. It's recovering pretty well. You pressed your lips together and said nothing, yanking your hand back hard. When we get back there's the monthly exam. I hope your Chinese and English both improve a bit, otherwise teacher Miu will be out of a job. Lu Ruyan's voice drifted over, soft and gentle. Don't worry, I would never embarrass teacher Miu. You ignored him and turned to find the others. You all ate, drank, and had a blast. Before leaving you took a big group photo. No Conscience purposely posted it on Moments to show off, captioned a day with my male idol, with one attached picture. Wu Mengmeng commented, then doesn't that make me the goddess? Old Du commented, my bro is too handsome. You must take me next time. Lele and Kikai, seriously, you went out and didn't call me? That's too much. Ma Zuri commented, take good care of your male idol. Besides these familiar comments, there were other messages. Wow, No Conscience, how can you be this happy? Honestly, Lu Ji looks more elegant with dyed hair, and the guy next to him is super handsome too. Looks like handsome guys do cluster together. Sister Yan, you're so cool. At night, Ma Zuri and I returned to the guest house. After washing up, we sat side by side on the terrace. The roof was open to the sky, and the stars above were so beautiful you didn't want to look away. How far have you and that beauty Lu gotten? Ma Zuri leaned against the chair back, wearing a men's face mask, and asked casually, how far? Don't talk nonsense, we haven't even had a single stroke of fate yet. Ma Zuri didn't wait for you to explain and went on, I've heard about Sister Yan. What she's done is no ordinary matter. You thought about Lu Ruyan. Over the past month, Wu Mengmeng, Du Zitong and No Conscience had all filled you in. She really was extraordinary. Seeing you unmoved, Ma Zuri jabbed you with his elbow in irritation. Don't play dumb. Little bro, haven't you noticed Sister Yan treats you specially? Since childhood, people who chased you ranged from ordinary to outstanding, every kind you could imagine. You had seen it all long ago. You were quiet for a long time, lips pressed tight. Rige, you know my situation these past 2 years. In 2 years, he and I might never cross paths again. One is a wealthy heiress tied up with Baikon's power circles, with an exceptionally unusual family background. The other is a gentleman from Ningcheng, his family merchants for generations. We are like two parallel lines that will never meet. If not for the past 2 years, we would never have encountered each other. Ma Zuri grew quiet too, saying nothing more. For people like you, birth truly determines so many of the roads ahead. You watched your finger trace circles on the railing and spoke again. Lu Ruyan really is exceptional, but sadly, he and I are destined not to be from the same world. Ma Zuri sighed softly, and didn't add a word. The two of you talked for a long time about heartfelt things, bathed in starlight, and slowly fell asleep. The next day, you and Ma Zuri finished visiting the remaining sites and then went straight back to Ningcheng. For the rest of the National Day holiday you basically vegged out at home for 2 days, and then the whole family went to a village at the foot of the northern mountains for a short trip. Using the last bit of the holiday, you edited the footage from the past few days and posted it on your Weibo. This video is a bit long, babes, take your time watching. The comments section quickly exploded, the length is just so touching. I feel like I've watched a full travel variety show. The person shown from behind at the end is that the guy's sister? So cool. Ah, it's such a pity I didn't run into him in Beijing. His looks are unmatched, and his voice is so soothing. You scrolled through the comments and picked a few to reply to. To your surprise, you came across the one from someone called Little Brother's Baby. Little Brother's Baby, husband, you made me cry from how handsome you are. Kisses.jpg, you replied, you call me husband too often, my future girlfriends will get jealous. Little Brother's Baby replied, he says he won't mind. Geez, that nerve is for real. Once home, you schemed a few private messages and then went to bed early. After all, you had to catch an early bus back to school tomorrow. When the National Day holiday ended and you returned to school, noticeably more people were staring at you than before. You unconsciously began walking faster and, as soon as you entered the classroom, found a seat and sat down. Du Zitong was already there. Wow, little bro, you didn't dye your hair back yet. You instinctively touched your hair. It's fine, not too conspicuous. Du Zitong gave you a thumbs up. Handsome black hair inside the room looks no different. You glanced at the empty seat beside you and said nothing. That guy is usually cutting it close, but today the bell had already rung and No Conscience came in breathless, yet he didn't seem to have seen Lu Ruyan at all. You were about to ask him when the homeroom teacher walked in. Looks like everyone had a great National Day, but fun's over now, it's time to buckle down and study, no slacking off. Saying that, he posted an October schedule on the bulletin board. This month's exam starts on time tomorrow night, everyone prepare in advance. Exam arrangements, Mu GE, go to my office later to pick it up and post it. You absent-mindedly replied. This Chinese class felt longer than any you'd had before. The moment the class bell rang, Teacher Yao had just stepped out the door when you slapped No Conscience on the back. Where's Lu Ruyan? No Conscience turned around, looking like he wanted to say something but held back. He had a bit of trouble. What? Your heart tightened. No Conscience quickly waved his hand. Not that kind of trouble. Yan Ji got into a fight and ended up at the station recently. He switched to Lu Ruyan's seat and lowered his voice. He was just bailed out by his family last week. The school told him not to come to class for a few days. Consider it suspension to reflect on his actions. Your expression instantly grew more serious, and it took you a while to calm down. A fight? What exactly happened? Seeing No Conscience stammer, your head started to ache. Stop beating around the bush, just say it. Anyway, you were going to find out sooner or later. Do you remember that Lu Yang? The one who was with Lin Kingzi and that group last time. How could I forget someone like that? I nodded, but my heart kept sinking. The night after we split from you, a few of us went to a bar and ran into that group. They were all drunk. Yan Ji actually only had a sip or two, then Lu Yang started the provocation. He opened his mouth and said, you look like quite the pretty boy, why not introduce you to the girls? He said things like good girlfriends should share blessings, if there are handsome guys everyone can play together. Each line was worse than the last. Yan Ji blew up on the spot and immediately started fighting and beat that group up. Lu Yang and the ones who led the ambush on you last time were the worst injured. They're still in the hospital. In the end, those bastards pinned the blame entirely on Yan Ji and had her taken to the station. When this heartless person spoke, there was barely suppressed anger in their tone. Lu Yang's lot deserved a beating. It was Yan Ji's family pulling strings hard that got her out, otherwise with her past and this incident, she'd have been locked up for a while at least. You only nodded expressionlessly and let the heartless one go back to their seat. Then you turned and went to the office, knocked on the door and called out, report. Teacher Yao handed you several forms, and glanced at your hair. The school technically forbids dyed hair. But a smile hovered at the corner of his mouth. It's fine, your grades are good, it doesn't affect your studies, just don't fall behind. Besides, it's not that noticeable. You forced a smile for the first time in your life, and your mind replayed what the heartless one had just said. Teacher, I want to ask something. Lu Ruyan, when will he be able to come back? If it's tomorrow night, he probably won't make the exam. You nodded dazedly, then turned and went back to the classroom. At lunch, while everyone was napping, you slipped up to the top floor study room and called your aunt. Little brother, what's up? You bit your lip. Aunt, can you do me a favor? We're family, don't be so formal, just tell me. A classmate of mine was implicated because of me and got locked up for a few days. I'm worried this will leave a criminal record. Can you check for me? A fight that got reported to the police. I can guess which jurisdiction from that. What's the name? A student from Baikondu named Lu Ruyan. The more you spoke, the heavier your heart grew. After all, Lu Ruyan was detained entirely because of me. If a record remained, it would affect him terribly. Okay, I'll check and contact you later. Don't overthink it, Aunt's got this, don't worry. During the second self-study session in the afternoon, your aunt finally replied, I checked it for you. His family has connections and got him out early, so there's no criminal record recorded. But he did have a prior entry. I asked the person handling the case over there, and they said that earlier incident was a big deal. A man was beaten into a vegetative state. That entry can't really be completely erased. Little brother, you need to be more careful out there. From what I see, your classmate has some serious backing. Thanks, Aunt. Please, whatever you do, don't tell my family about this. Your aunt just answered, got it. Here, you turned and asked Heartless for Lu Ruyan's address. At first Heartless looked puzzled. You explained calmly, Teacher Yao has some materials I need to hand him, and I'll take the opportunity to talk to him about the exam. After hearing that, Heartless didn't ask more and just sent you the address. As soon as the class bell rang, you grabbed your bag and rushed out. In the taxi you messaged Wu Mengmeng, go home first today, I have something come up and will be back late. Wu Mengmeng replied resignedly, I've been waiting for you a long time, be careful on the road, don't be too late. You got off at the entrance of a residential compound. The elevator went straight to the 15th floor. I stepped out and found apartment 1501. I stood at the door for a while, and just as I was about to reach for the doorbell, the door opened from the inside. You froze on the spot, awkwardly pulling your hand back. You, what, you? Lu Ruyan was wearing loose white loungewear, his hair a bit messy but giving off a languid kind of beauty. If I didn't open the door, you might have stood there until dark with no reaction. He stepped aside, come in. Lu Ruyan handed you a pair of slippers. They were large and clearly a spare men's size. You entered and sat down on the sofa, noticing his place was tidy and minimalist. Lu Ruyan poured a glass of water and handed it to you. Teacher Mew, drink some water. You nodded slightly, accepted the cup, and sipped it delicately. Lu Ruyan leaned against the table with his arms crossed. Heartless said Teacher Yao had something to give me. You fished a pink sticky note from your bag. Your exam rooms and seat numbers for all subjects are on this. Lu Ruyan reached out to take it, his fingertips brushing the back of your hand, written by Teacher Mew himself and delivered in person. I must treasure this. You silently took another sip, and the next second you heard him add, the teacher is so good to me. You couldn't swallow the water, coughing several times as you grabbed the tissue Lu Ruyan handed you, your face flushed bright red. Who could reign in Lu Ruyan's mouth? Always teasing you. You lightly patted your chest. I'll treat you a bit better, but if you bomb the exam, don't say I'm your teacher. The room suddenly fell quiet again. You stood up. Since we're on the subject, I'll head back now. Little brother. Lu Ruyan suddenly grabbed your wrist. You were a little dazed. This was the first time he'd called you that. Aren't you curious? Don't you want to ask what happened to me? You pulled your wrist back from his hand, not daring to meet his eyes. Heartless already told me everything. Your tone faltered. Thank you. I'm not talking about this time. I mean why I took a leave and repeated a year. You turned back to meet Lu Ruyan's gaze. His deep eyes seemed to hide many untold stories. If you want to tell me, I'll listen carefully. If you don't want to, I won't force you. Lu Ruyan gently pulled you and sat back on the sofa, his voice grew a little lower. Some things, I want to tell you myself. At this moment Lu Ruyan had shed the cold arrogance she wore at school, looking like a fragile yet stubborn girl. That woman's arrival made my mother's depression worse, and in the end she chose to kill herself, leaving me forever. And that illegitimate son was as troublesome as his mother, coming to our house to wreak havoc and constantly provoking me. Later things happened. I beat that guy until he became a vegetable. No matter how much I regret it now, it's of no use. You reached out and gently covered Ruyan's mouth. Don't say anymore. You could hear the feigned indifference in his tone, but the turmoil in his eyes was impossible to hide. So Lu Ruyan had gone through so much pain. Lu Ruyan, we are here with you now. Ruyan lifted her eyes and met your gentle gaze. The gloom that had been in her heart seemed to be suddenly pierced by a beam of light. You two stared at each other in silence for a long time. A phone ringing abruptly broke that moment of warmth. What's wrong? You answered the call. Your dad and your eldest sister are worried it's not safe for you to come home so late. Uncle John is already downstairs waiting to pick you up, came the voice from the receiver.